Yes, subscribe. You always dey watch we program them, but you not subscribe yet to we channel. All wetin you get for do, press this red subscribe button and then you come over here and press this bell. To the bell option, press this one with all. E don done. E no get for cost you anything. When you do this, na sign for show say you dey support we for make we do more. Thank you for we don help we for share this program. Yeah, God bless you. You know say plenty people no get for vote the time for election? Not because they no want for vote, but now because of this simple mistake where I can't tell you what so, now it go make plenty people no vote. Right now, as the Electoral Commission Salon don't pull the date for vote and for register, plenty people just the yagba and they rush go do things them as then they tell them for do. But hey, members say registration, the voter registration, they begin from the 3rd of September to the 4th of October 2022. Then a number one step where go give you guarantee say you go vote. But if you make mistake during this time, you no go for vote. And I think this way person not go able for help you pan. Wetin this mean? It means say no ever register na the area where you dey work, do business, or where you dey go school. You know what it make? You don't know. Sometimes the time for the election, then go say public transport not for run. This na big challenge for you. Remember, if you tap na Kalbaton and then you dey work na Lomley, how you go able for go and vote na that side? You go able for waka? The answer na no. So, no make that mistake dey. As them blow the whistle when they say, hey, today na the 3rd of September for begin the voter registration. Do ya try by all possible means for register na the center where they near you house. So the day when they go say for voting, whether Mutuka deal, Mutuka not deal, not to your business. You dey go serve na morning, vote, return back na your house. So you see, if you make this mistake, the possibility go they say you no go vote 2023. So wetin na this yagba now? For say me party go continue for then na power, or me party go return na power if I not able for vote. You want vote, they change the whole situation.
So we dey try to examine the new patterns of democratization, basically in Africa, and that include the management of resources, the structural arrangements of governance, and the quality of governance generally. So that within this scope, the Sierra Leone project, fall in place. But the investigation at Sierra Leone again lasts for 14 months of looking at public finance management, especially so if you remember when we get the transition in April 2018, the government passed two executive orders. Executive order number 1, we talk about revenue mobilization, domestic revenue mobilization, and then executive order number 2, we talk about fiscal control measures. And these, they in line with Wetin the new government within our power now talk about in the new direction manifesto and all of that. So we're going to try to track public expenditure under the Bureau regime for see how the conduct of the government also they in line with the manifesto promises where the government make. So these publications basically they interrogate the promises of the government based on the manifesto promises where they make. And if you look, then don't talk about them, they don't even assess themselves and say they don't deliver on a number of those manifestos. So we they try as an organization to see, okay, on the question of economic management of the resources, public finances, whether this government actually committed to corruption, and the pronouncement of the government, both in the manifesto before the kind of power and then performance over this period of 3 years, whether exactly the public pronouncements match the actual performance.
Where would I tell people that money comes from? The office of the First Lady is not part of a government institution. In Sierra Leone, I've been blessed that my husband actually got me my own office where I can wake up in the morning and go to work and come home so that we separate our home from office.
Where we publish, for example, the Office of the First Lady saying that the Office of the First Lady received an illegal budgetary allocation of $3 million, the equivalent of $3 million in less than 3 years. The Office of the First Lady come out, the First Lady come out and say, yes, you received the money, and he begin to justify. So basically, there has never been any of the publications running up to almost a year now by the Africanist Press in which any of these officials deny the authenticity of the publications. What they have been trying to do is to rationalize, or justify their action. And the rationalization either for say this has been how they meter in the case of salaries, they say to APC leper. Okay? But they forgot that they promised a departure from the old ways of doing things.
Now, would you feel say go pay the bill? When you want to let the world know who you are, when you want to let the world know what your country stand for, when you want to let the world know, say yes, you young government and the country where you dey under, the president where you dey under, that president he believe in gender equality. You have to do something for make the world know. So yes, I use that money towards that because all them people and the way they for come to this country, now somebody there for foot them bill. Anytime another first lady invites me for going in country, now in they buy me tickets. Now in they buy me PA in ticket, he buy me security then ticket, he buy me media people in ticket, now then can buy them ticket. So when then they come to me, the same thing applies. I buy them tickets. And when they come, now me they host them, now me call them na my country, I get for pay them hotel bill. So just in case, if you don't know, now that one day, I had over 32 guests within the sub-region who come for the Hands Off Our Girls campaign. We come for can lunch for me. And they'll all be supposed for fly can Sierra Leone. They know they waka. Not to say that they just come out in the room, they waka go, they reach na Sierra Leone. Now plane get for bring the car. So I have to pay their airfare. And when you come up and down one day, when they reach now your country, now you get for feed them. Now you get for put them in a hotel. Who that they do that one day? Who say visa they pull up? Now the state get for pay for them.
Office of the First Lady. Yeah? Under normal circumstances, they should not even audit the office of the First Lady. They only audit offices, public offices,
right,
and offices that belong to the government of Sierra Leone.
Constitutionally recognized offices.
Yes. And if there is any office that they gave government money that is not a recognized office of the government of Sierra Leone, instead of them auditing that office, they should simply ask the office to refund the money. So let us say Samuel has a company.
Right.
Do you want to say the Minister of Finance has the right to expend government money to your company when it is not part of the offices of the government of Sierra Leone? No. So the same applies with the office of the First Lady. So what the Auditor General and the Audit Service Sierra Leone should have done is just to ask the office to refund the money that was given. Instead of auditing you are wasting government resources to even go further to audit office that should not be audited. So
we try to examine the new patterns of democratization, basically in Africa, and that include the management of resources, the structural arrangements of governance, and the quality of governance generally. So that within this.
So I encourage all Sierra Leoneans to join me to fight corruption. This is just the beginning.
We try, as an organization, to see, okay, on the question of economic management of the resources, public finances, whether this government actually committed to corruption, and the pronouncement of the government, both in the manifesto before the kind of power and then performance over this period of 3 years, whether exactly the public pronouncements match the actual performance.
And would you say the current fight against corruption has minimized corruption in your administration, or do you think you also have thieves in administration?
I wouldn't call anybody I've appointed as thieves, but I would tell you for sure that Now, if you have to steal, you must be very cautious. You know it is risky. You know if you are caught that the penalties can be quite rigid.
Where would I tell people that money comes from? The office of the First Lady is not part of a government institution. In Sierra Leone, I've been blessed that my husband actually got me my own office where I can wake up in the morning and go to work and come home so that we separate our home from office.
Where we publish, for example, the office of the First Lady saying that the office of the First Lady received an illegal budgetary allocation of $3 million, the equivalent of $3 million in less than 3 years. The office of the First Lady the First Lady come out and say, yes, you received the money, and he begin to justify. So basically, there has never been any of the publications running up to almost a year now by the Africanist press in which any of these officials deny the authenticity of the publications. What they have been trying to do is to rationalize, or justify their action.
I spend money, office they spend money. They're not missing a corruption. If I spend 10 billion, they're not missing a corruption. The most important thing is I follow the procedure for make sure say, oh, my office, we get for us, if my office follow the procedure, forget the money. Where they spend the money, they account for them, and waiting a use of the office or anybody where they say they're accused of corruption, whether they use the money for the purpose for which they say. If all of them, they know because they say the office of the president use 10 billion for we, because of the money in himself is here for 10 billion, then at $1 million. But if you go elsewhere, you go see say me, if I travel today, not to my responsibility for buy me ticket or for get me plane or for spend. I not get that money sir, for travel that way. Me, the head of state of the Republic of Sierra Leone, the state they responsible for me travel and me stay where they go.
And the nationalization either for say this has been how the meter in the case of salaries they say to APC leper.
Excuse me, we have all been corrupt in this country. Sometimes people talk about corruption as if they are not being corrupt. What we have to recognize and acknowledge as a country is that it is not a single person that has been corrupt. It became a culture, and that culture, fighting against a culture, is not an easy fight. The opposition or those who talk about the wage bill, they were not able to pay that small number. But we have been able to pay ours consistently since we came. We are dealing with a nation, so it is not the numbers. Are we taking teachers for the sake of taking teachers? No. Are we taking in nurses for the sake of taking in nurses? No. Human capital development is our flagship program, remember? And for us to deliver on that, especially the education aspect, we need teachers. Good teachers, well motivated. So we've had to increase their allowances by 10%. We've had to increase their salaries by another 30%. Same for the nurses. This is not money wasted.
Okay, but they forgot that they promised a departure from the old ways of doing things.
Now, would you feel say go pay the bill? When you want to let the world know who you are, when you want to let the world know what your country stand for, when you want to let the world know, say yes, you young government and the country where you dey under, the president where you dey under, that president he believe in gender equality. You have to do something for make the world know. So yes, I use that money towards that because all them people and the way they for come to this country, now somebody there for foot them bill. Anytime another first lady invites me for Ghana in country, now in they buy me tickets. Now in they buy me PA in ticket, he buy me security then ticket, he buy me media people in ticket, now then can buy them ticket. So when then they come to me, the same thing applies. I buy them tickets. And when they come, now me they host them, now me call them in my country, I get for pay them hotel bill.
So when they say, for instance, the first lady in office spend whatever billions, the other question for be, whose side is spending? Now clothes you go buy, now house you go buy, now hotel you go buy, you go buy. No, he spend them with picking at this country, and he don't account for them.
Under normal circumstances, they should not even audit the office of the First Lady. They only audit offices, public offices,
Right.
and offices that belong to the government of Sierra Leone.
Constitutionally recognized offices.
Yes, yes. And if there is any office that they gave government money that is not a recognized office of the government of Sierra Leone, instead of them auditing that office, they should simply ask the office to refund the money. So let us say Samuel has a company.
Right.
Do you want to say the Minister of Finance has the right to expend government money to your company when it is not part of the offices of the government of Sierra Leone? No. So the same applies with the office of the First Lady. So what the Auditor General and the Audit Service Sierra Leone should have done is just to ask the office to refund the money that was given. Instead of auditing you are wasting government resources to even go in further to audit office that should not be audited.
As long as you take money on behalf of the Sierra Leonean people, as long as you take public office and the attendant resources they give you, you subjected to public scrutiny. So let nobody no come public for can intimidate anybody with regards to accountability. Accountability na fundamental of governance, na fundamental of democracy, na part and parcel. When you give me something on behalf of the Sierra Leonean people, I get right for can answer. Say, that's the way you give me. Na so I do am.
The audit service is one of the most respected state institutions in Sierra Leone. And you have said that it's your responsibility to hold your government accountable as much as the law allows them to. Do you feel sorry for the Auditor General for what she seems to be going through, which some say is harassment, for doing a good job, auditing your system?
Do you also pity me or my wife when they talk about her?
The audit service, you mean? Talk about you and your wife?
No.
Well, I'm specific in terms of the audit.
You're talking about her now. You
Yeah.
seem to be concerned about her. But you know what has been said about my person, my wife, and all of these people sitting here?
Maybe you are politicians, she is not.
Public officer. She is a public. When you step into that space, there is no more fence. You are open. They say everything and anything about you. You think my intervention is going to stop? No. Should I call it the accusation you're making? It's the same thing my wife tells me. They are telling me I'm a thief, I'm not this, and she cries and that. I say, I've been called worse names than that. But nobody called me to come here. I chose to come here. If you can't stand the heat, don't go to the kitchen.
You get something where the money are you. Now this week on Sierra Leone. Well, are you and Justin they give you the chance for make you blow your mind. Now the program called We Are for Blow Your Mind. The truth you get for say, yeah. And it no matter what truth you get for say. Try save the future. The truth you get for say, yeah. And it no matter what truth you get for say. Talk now, we are.
Hello, we good people inside this one big family house. How we all do? Well, of course, today another day where we all be the wait for. Today another day where we be the tell on our boards. For say today, Saturday, we go deal with the Carafilo, the God sent na Mama Salon, the God sent against the bad politicians them, the God sent against the bad governance where they go on na Mama Salon right now. Well, some of you know this man already, but some of you just the Yeribotam. Well, today, now a big opportunity for make you able can talk to this young man and ask them some questions them were related to in publication where them they issue out for help we understand the yuki and dabaru where they go on na Mama Salon today. Well, this young man na no lesser person, but as I say, the Carafilo, where we all they call Chernoh from the Africanist press. Well, of course, this man don't they do a great work as me and you to know. He don't they facing so many challenges them as me and you to know, but he still not lose up. He stand on his feet for Wetin because he want to see this country rich. Also, we all the yarn for make this country rich. Well, today, now the day we get Mr. Chernoh inside the house of Riyadh for come ask him, for come explain, for come make we know so many things them where they put in a paper as they can put them, we they try for pull them in a paper for put them in that Creole version for make that list man a village understand. Because of that one day, a day with you now today, where yourself get a chance for can call as the program they go on for ask them some questions them due to Wetin then they pull out for it. No go no say, deal with we, and don't forget for hit the like button as you enter another family house. Me where they talk to you, Mina Baibure Kablai from the north, the highest and toughest warrior with a sharp cutlass.
My name is Nasembe Pierre, the freedom fighter. Well, today we get a lot of things then. Don't start the program already with the background. We don't enjoy that drama a long time ago. But the work not stop it so the Africanist press and Chernoh then say they get what English word they use the relentless. That they need tire. In fact, how you feel say they don't they run out of ideas. Now so different things than they can we can shock the public. And it not only shock the public. Oh. They make that concern, they torment. They come out here, not know Wetin for do. And if they get power, I know say Bible if they be able for old Chernoh, then they just squeeze and so like Angie.
They quit the peel granuts.
Well, so because we don't see a lot of things that they go on. Well, the new order of the day now this. As in, you not go say set motto, then they want for you and blacker. Anyway, we can see how it's like waiting they go on with regards all of them things there. As we dey talk, so we want to start the program proper one, but the number still small for us. On YouTube, we get about 347 where they watch right now, and then on Facebook we get about how much? Watch. On Facebook right now, we get about, where am I? Don't hide for me. Okay, 213 where they watch right now on Facebook. So we want more people them. So one way how you can do for make we able for get more people them inside the program. Now for help we for share the program, like the program and let you comment down. The more you like and comment, the more YouTube they able for recommend this particular thing to other people them. Facebook they do the same thing. But another simple way for do now for let you able for help we for share. Okay, today na the very first day when you come na this channel for can watch Wetin the opponent. Okay, welcome. We welcome everybody, but I'll tell you something. 90% of Wetin we dey talk about inside this particular program we had get for do with the government of the day. But why the government of the day? Because now that we vote for, now that we put in a position of trust. Other person will say, but what about the opposition APC? They not get anything for do. They don't vote them. One of the reasons we make them vote them out now because the people feel say they're tired. They need a change. Now they don't get a change. How you expect me for go all opposition we're not so indirectly involved and left the one that we involved? So 90% of what we deal with now for all the government to account. Then try to them we go make them sweat and do the right thing for we. Now we talk about 10% get for do with the opposition because we not forget them. Remember now the day government in waiting. So we get for make sure say they no say we stand by in case they can they want for do any kind ranka. We go tell them say we get the pranker or how you call it no more now for wait for them. And then any other business you can see we come up with some relief things them some things that we get for do to other people in business along the way. And by the way, remember say we still they go on with fundraising for builder house for that poor person where it be for say in roof now just how you call them not to tarpaulin safe plastic bag na on top but remember we can't talk about all land and the condition of people them. Poor people The roof na plastic bag. Rent allowance for Chief Justice na 198.4 million leons. Can you imagine? We can't look into all of them things and they we don't want for rush inside them things and they. So continue and help me for share. The number they go up on Facebook, you don't go 248, and also on the can small. And on YouTube, we they go up again, we don't reach to 376. We still want more people then. But I don't think say we need for waste any more time. Bye bye.
All right, Fambulem, as una don't hear Wetin, we gotta tell you, another one day they go on right now, make we continue for push this donation so we be able to rescue life. Well, me people, today, as I say, we get the Igwe Naya. You know, when Nigerian say Igwe, we all know what it means. Well, we call him the Carafilo. Well, this man say, you know, get for stop, and you know, begin it. Well, I don't doubt me, because Mr. Sepo Chernoh don't convince me. For all them bombardments there, where I mean bombardment, now the one at paper, where it the Lego. What they talk behind the scene, it's still a talk say it no begin it. Yeah. And we not see nothing
in it. We left them talk there. I would say no begin it, but then can't think that we don't do so.
Well, it's that the man in the screenshot, not what me say. Now the man he say we not see nothing in it.
Hey God.
More day
me and my uncle with Bele run together because follow here, you don't can't think they are not Bele.
Well, I still repeat and say, not to me say. Now the Carafilo now say, because who say you they even no say it not begin it. The first thing they will be done here, we the one the way they can now. We came up for two the first one themselves. We begin take fresh pande wire because they're very, very heavy past the first one them. So that they tell you say more than at the blind where we bought and not bring for we eat. But since Indian at the screen today, my people, as I tell you, this is a big opportunity, but the game they can start. You know where they get now feel. You begin to coax the ball for small. Till now go center ram. We now begin for play the game now. Now so we they do the game today. We they can begin for coaxer now by asking we brother some small things there where people want for no. You know, some of it can make like you know, but I feel say any topic or any subject get a master where sabi interpret them or get the lecturer where sabi for teacher.
And nothing I mean because of that now. Because I be done the try for make sure say I go inside and to you. But I be take permission. I say me not sabi, I just be try.
A man, I not talk to you. Where he come for this, now you uncle he talk me, I know they talk to you. So Mr. Chernoh, you welcome na the program.
Yes, thank you very much, Riyad, for this wonderful opportunity for coming here again. If I remember, we end last year with the last program at the yard, and we review all what we do in 2021, and now this now the 5th month of 2022. And we've been promised the people of Sierra Leone that 2022 going to be the year of exposure. We expose the entire system for the people of Sierra Leone to see, and that we don't start now. For the year of exposure, the year of 2021 was a year of revelation. So we reveal, you know, the corruption will happen at Salon, starting with the presidency. We should say the corruption at Sierra Leone, not to small people anymore, small civil servant, and at the heart of the corruption are right inside the president in office. And it involved the president in wife, the chief minister, and all them key people. And so we reveal all of these small corner there. Beside these big politicians who are in charge of the country involved. Then we say we end by the time we end 2021, the government will already chase the Auditor General out. Don't run after the Auditor General, don't run after the Deputy Auditor General, and a number of other people inside the government who we don't know about. We people don't know about, but we know about the, you know, smaller other people and from ministries and we don't drive inside the government because of what we don't publish. So we say 2022 therefore be the year of exposure that would escalate the publications from the stage of revelation to the stage of exposure. So now we did now. Now we don't start actually, this month we don't pass, now we actually start now. So now we did so. We just don't begin start the button for begin now the year of exposure. So it's very good for Kamnaya again. But before we start that, I want to thank Una very much. You guys have been doing tremendously well. We don't stand out at this critical juncture, at this critical moment of the country. We get 1 year to election, so we are done then at the forefront, at the vanguard of making sure the people of Sierra Leone are not distracted, making sure we stay on the issues that matter to the people of Sierra Leone, the issues and way they affect the greater majority of the people. So I think from the Africanist press perspective, we are tremendously impressed by the level of focus and determination and dedication that we don't show to the effort for enforced democracy in Salone and make sure the people then remain focused on the issues that matter, because you get a lot of distractions going on from celebrity issues, from all kinds of conversation you see, all kinds. So the temptation will make people move away from the actual daily issue where they affect people and welfare, people and livelihoods, the development of the country, questions of governance. It's too tempting. So foresee a group of media people remaining focused on the questions that matter. It's very, very amazing. So looking at it from this distance, I want to tell Una thank you for this wonderful work and dedication. And I will just say we are humbled by and encouraged by that kind of focus. It's not an easy thing. We're not going to realize how difficult it is for remain focused, but that's something we say they admire Una. And I want to salute Una on that note and tell Una thank you for also helping us, remain on track. We say now Una they copy how Una they do. That's what we say. They say, so them my self-determined and they're not for left behind, for this side by side with them. So we are side by side along with you in the trenches and side by side with Una on the front line of the conversation. And we have to say that we are encouraged for keep looking forward, keep our eyes focused because of the kind of work we want to do. So I know we'll repeat myself over and over, but I just want to say that up front, make Una know say we appreciate the work we do. And now work like we had and Una dedication, and also they give you the courage and the determination to move on.
All right. Well, the people Una don't hear the Carafilo waiting it talk. I mentioned something I just say. Mr. Chernoh say they not begin nothing. It's thank God. Himself don't come and repeat and say 2021, a year of revolution. 2022, well, now in they use for pull all the block them. Whether they say then they can block with the loopholes them or the leakages them, where at the end of the day we can tell now say this leakage is where you say it can for can lock, they don't count on meditate and see. Well, Mr. Chernoh, you're welcome. But that what we talk say now we the fella, also than the talk and people know they are gonna betray you. So before them now we can start the program as we all don't sit down for listening to the Carafilo. But the first question I get for we brother today, I really want to ask you because people and kiosks for know they really focus on this particular question because they want to understand how it happened. Since the time when I don't begin this publication of this misdirection as making column, how una assess the fight against corruption, where then people actually make noise for we, where some people say that they see yes, then they do but the majority say they see nothing in the area of fighting corruption. Una as Africanist press, how una assess the fighting against corruption at this government?
And I think if somebody for use just one word for summarize the whole thing, it's just a big joke, a complete joke, a joke that we never see in kind in the history of the country, especially in the post-war history of Sierra Leone. So the government so-called talk of corruption are the biggest joke where every Sierra Leonean know about now. You don't need for even begin to explain to Sierra Leoneans. But I think the question is why it take we so long for make we able help the world for understand say na a joke. Na in the war been do that na a joke. The fight against corruption have been just a joke, not to be any serious thing that the government is committed to doing. That many people outside of Sierra Leone, because Sierra Leoneans we know that, they see the evidence, because if they see man their way, we get challenges in no time. For example, when the presidency don't declare asset, make them public. Now from that beginning, the people don't begin doubt, say this man not committed to anything they talk about. But for people outside of the borders of Sierra Leone, we know to Sierra Leoneans, we intend for belief, say the government's talk about corruption have been true. Why it take we long for make international organizations, international partners, and begin see the lack of commitment to issues that matter when it comes to transparency. Now, because the greater majority of people who don't serve as independent actors, who are able to help for provide the correct information about what happened in Salone, they've sold out, practically. And these are individuals in the civil society and a greater sector of the media in Salone. They don't collaborate with the government and decide, say, as far as they're concerned, they therefore protect the government because they had a material interest in what was happening. So until you get alternative efforts like what we do now from the Africanist press, from Buyard, and all these other multiple channels of citizens opening up different platforms and different avenues for force a conversation, we will allow external partners to see into the situation at Salone. It was impossible to get that from people on the ground. The few people away in at the ground we want for talk, they don't become so terrified. And you just talk about now the idea of arresting, for example, somebody who is mentally challenged and kind of going to court. Not to say they want to arrest that person. They just want to send a message of terror to people and say, if we know they left somebody, we want to consider Chris man. We're not going to spare anybody who is supposedly sin. So that idea of marginalizing people and suppressing people and scaring them and making sure that anybody who wants to talk, will get mind for talk, then go attack you, then go arrest you, then go jail you. Plus, the greater majority of people then we allow that thing to happen and they not talk about her. And even help the government for cover that and help the government for build a narrative of lies, of deception. Those are the individuals who became the problem of Sierra Leone and who are still the problem of the country. So now that make it take the rest of the world. So over 2 years now for land say, oh, they have been duped by the political class in Salone and their allies in the media and civil society. Civil society, largely speaking, including even the academics in the country. So they remain silent and decide, say, they will collaborate with the government, and because of the pecuniary benefits they get in the country. So they also deceive the rest of the international community about the so-called fight against corruption in Sierra Leone until people then decide to step in. And now should say the corruption in Sierra Leone now, it starts with the president. It extends to his wife. It extends to his chief ministers. It extends to the Minister of Finance. So everybody in the government have collaborated with a kleptocracy in the country that is stealing money and not only stealing money, but now marginalizing and oppressing people and getting rid of everything that constitutes democratic governance of the country. So if you ask me how we assess the government, now that, in fact, that kind of fraud that we saw, where the state has been captured, the state has captured everything and has silenced people, now that make we decide, say, we have to intervene. We have to come to the rescue of the greater majority of Sierra Leoneans who are oppressed and poor and have no opportunity of making sure that the truth that they know about is known to the world. So now that make we come in, but by the time we step in, we already don't get the evidence. The government's fight against corruption was a facade, was a big joke, was nothing but a collaborative effort but between the politicians and the media, the greater sector of the civil society, and also business elites, the business class, and the academics in the country for deceive the rest of the world about what may happen in Sierra Leone. So they are all complicit in building a narrative of fraud, a narrative about a government that was democratic and committed to good governance when in actual fact it is not. So with intervention, I don't shake that. to the extent that now, when we push the government for maybe the world say whether test them for making them able to see whether their democratic credentials, their commitment to transparency issues are true, what did they do? In fact, as I talk to you now, people that know about Lara Taylor Pierce and Tamba Momo because they're high-profile auditors. But you go interest the people of Sierra Leone for no say. There are dozens and dozens of internal auditors starting from the Ministry of Finance to the Office of the President to the Bank of Sierra Leone to many government agencies and departments who have been silently marginalized, suspended, sacked, as we talk about that, people do not know about. But sections of the media in Sierra Leone know about some of these people because some of them are them party then, are them friends then. They grumble about it when they meet in bars, in restaurants, in their street corners, and their homes, but they cannot talk about it.
So why you feel, say, in most cases, people they know about corruption, the media in particular, they know about corruption. Other civil society organization and activists, they know about corruption, but then self keep quiet. Why you feel, say, that's the happen?
Now, there are two sectors. We get a section of the independent press that still remains challenged. You get a couple of newspapers in the country led by very courageous journalists. You can name them, starting, for example, the Nationalist, papers like that, and papers like Standard Times. These are among a few of the people that were left within the media who are still struggling, but then getting own economic challenges. They've been starved of advertisement. They've been, they are not patronized. And the challenge of running newspapers. But the greater majority of people who had stood up in the past, okay, we don't publish even evidence of government distribution of advertisement, taken, for example, the Petroleum Regulatory Agency, where we found out that majority of the pro-government media are the only people who are receiving advertisements. And these are the people then where they help the government for get rid of transparency institutions. For example, Global Times.
Pro-government media, and at the same time, you talk about challenges then with plenty media houses than the face. How you would determine when this media na a pro-government? In other words, let me make book and don't small. When they talk about pro-media, basically they talk about the one then we totally they in favor of waiting the government, the way ready for support the government in all by all means. And then you get another one. How you determine that?
It's so simple. For example, you take Global Times as the most outstanding example of pro SLPP newspaper. The owners of the newspapers, the owner of the newspaper, I'm calling it out because they are obvious.
Like that one, the INSSF not they hide them out. It's very clear.
Exactly, they hide them out.
But what
this
about
is the
other
newspaper.
One where they hide behind the slave?
This now the newspaper we call for the sacking of the mayor. I mean the sacking of the Auditor General. Of the Auditor General. And not only that, it's also at the vanguard in the harassment of other opposition people in the country. Okay. But the fact of the matter is that we have the greater majority of people who are aware, for example, that in the Ministry of Finance, over 27 internal auditors have been suspended, marginalized, and that did not make it in the media. And this has happened like almost a year now.
So why didn't they suspend and marginalize them?
Because these individuals have been asking for fair treatment in salaries and condition of service, and they are accused as a consequence of that. When the Africanist press highlight some of these corruption and some of these scandalous wage bill, they are explicitly accused of being agents of the Africanist press in government departments, government ministries, and government agencies.
So, well, that's not true. This is not rumor. Not true that say for now. Then they supply information to una.
No, but the people have, in fact, the people have been investigated. The sad part of that, some of these people have been investigated, and they have no knowledge of some of these things to the extent that independent other government institutions have asked for their reinstatement, and they haven't done that. And the reason how we came to know about this because we don't see this in the record. We've seen it in government records, which we are going to publish for the public to see, that you get over 100 people now who have been dismissed or suspended or sacked, including an Auditor General and Deputy Auditor General, on the suspicion that these individuals were supposedly leaking government information about corruption to journalists, especially the Africanist press. So we don't, this Atiwe and Yun, public people, the party members and government ministers have said, have insinuated, have pronounced, have said, and they've also written it in their party newspapers or newspapers that supports them in power. But back to the question, yes, now the willing collaboration of these various sectors of the country, now it makes sure say the atrocious governance that Madabio and the SLPP of today have inflicted on the people of Sierra Leone was difficult to show to the rest of the world until now. But now progress has been made. We've been able to not just challenge that particular narrative, but also to show that that narrative is false, which is why you don't begin to see international reports are now reflecting some of the things that people are talking about, including, for example, look at the recent State Department report on Sierra Leone that talks about human rights violations, that talks about corruption, even to the extent of naming the wife of the president as a case, to the extent that the report mentioned that the Anti-Corruption Commission is being accused of selecting the kind of cases that they deal with, especially so when it comes to high-profile people in the government, they ignore it. When it comes to opposition people, they are ready to build up stories about corruption against the opposition, but they cannot investigate. In fact, they defend individuals in the government who are shown to be corrupt, not even accused of corruption, but shown to be corrupt. So the collaboration of the elite, from starting with academics to journalists to civil society activists, embolden the Bio regime to think that it can dismantle the institutional aspects of good governance in the country, to the extent that now we are faced with a dictator, with a dictatorship that everybody, to the extent that everybody thinks that it's normal to even arrest and put on trial a mentally challenged citizen of the country. But that is not the only thing that has happened.
People in mind. But before Biboye come in, please, Biboye, all the question you can ask him very soon. The question now I go ask you, from where una start una publication to now, una your work, self, while you assess the work, how much awareness you feel say people they don't get with regards that? How you satisfied with the kind of work una they do, or you feel say no, we know they do a very good work based on una your own assessment? Because any production, una must sit down, they watch at what una they do, try for strategize and all of them things. Then the we get to your assessment, because the people then get the way out and they look at your own job.
No, I will tell you for free that we are satisfied with the impact of the kind of work that we have done. That is not to say that we not realize that there's more to be done, and which is why we are committed. But we don't get tremendous response from ordinary Sierra Leoneans. No, ignore the fact, say, we have a situation. This is the first time in taking my own experience in the last 20 years of being involved in media work in a salon, at least, where the work that we do today in this last period is like walled, it's like fenced. Okay, we have a government that decided with their own media allies for fence way off the conversation, with the exception of few individuals who have taken that risk to reproduce what we publish. Like I tell you, the Standard Times has been exemplary when it comes to that, the Nationalist, the Provincial Times, and also Hope FM in McKinney. So apart from that,
and I know I don't know if not the Nationalist down there. I know of this guy, Thomas Dixon also. He's very strong in terms of how they're doing publications.
Yeah, that Salon. But I talk about the fact that the platform we had in the past, if we take 2007 to 2018, we had no problems speaking on radio, on TV, including the public broadcaster, SLBC. But we had a situation, for example, in SLBC ran an interview with us, recorded the interview and refused to broadcast the interview and provided no explanation why they refused to do that. So, but even with that, with this kind of
so in other words, before you continue, from where you begin this work, when the story then they make headlines, the broadcaster, the national broadcaster, not ever publish una. They no ever
No,
hear
the SLBC has never interviewed us. The SLBC, since we started our work, has never. But the SLBC has interviewed government officials who are responding to what we are publishing, but they've never. In fact, we call on them that this that you're doing is not correct. So they decided to record an interview, and they never showed it, and they provided no explanation regarding that. They think it's normal. But but why am I mentioning that? I'm mentioning that to the extent that our work has been a success regardless of that challenge, where a media brigade was built nationally for exclude what the Africanist press has been publishing. And that for us, now been the thing where we decide to say is the wall that we have to smash through. So even though there was a national effort for exclude and subsume we own conversation, we take the government straight to the international press. Because for the first time, the BBC had to cover corruption involving the president and his wife. Other Western media institutions, Radio Deutsche Welle and a couple of, so now the rest is history, to the extent that the president was being interviewed by CNN, in which details of Africanist press publications formed part of the question, part of the interrogation. So the impact, I'm sure, is right there in front, to the extent that the government was forced now to begin to sack people silently, to marginalize people silently, to the extent that they had to unlawfully and unconstitutionally decide to suspend the Auditor General, two of the leading auditors in the country. This is not unconnected to the Africanist press. It's not unconnected to the publications that we are making. And the conversation is right, but regardless of all this state effort for suppress what we are publishing, there is hardly any place, I think, where the conversations around the issues that we have raised are not happening. And thanks to the effort and the support that we received from platforms like WeYard and all the other online platforms and collaborative effort that we and the people of Sierra Leone have shown. Okay. The lessons that we have learned from this is that in this new age of technology, it is impossible for dictators for suppress the circulation of information. Okay. That the liberation of the instruments of mass communication, new technology, WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, these foretell leaders and that they have no way of preventing citizens from engaging in a conversation around issues that matter. So the earlier dictators learn about that they cannot behave just like they did in the 60s, in the 1970s, 1980s, that we are in a new period where the majority of citizens, 85 to 90% of the global population, especially in Africa and other part of the global south, are young people. And then young people, they are with their cell phones, they are in conversation with each other from different parts of the world. So there is nothing that can stop that kind of effort for make people and get dialogue outside of the traditional old age mediums of communication. Because first the way one talk, first you use satellite phone before BBC talk to you if you've been there long. But now with the Sedona America, you in the space of a minute, you don't send information to somebody na Krubola, to somebody na Pujeun, to somebody na Kono, na Faima, Chiefdom, and all these places. So you find out that it is impossible for the government was trying to do an impossible thing for, say, the conversation and the publications that we are releasing, they're not going to reach the people of Sierra Leone. And we knew they were going to do that. We were going to do that. So that game of trying to block Africanist press and the effort
we come to that one day. We come to that one day if we can talk about that particular side. But you don't begin name some media them where as far as you're concerned and they do good. Feel free for name anyone where don't they do good because they don't support you as well in the fight.
Of course.
You know?
Of
so
course.
Just feel free for call both social media, traditional media, whatever.
Yeah, I appreciate that openness on your part, because if not to the alternative platforms that we have, it will be impossible to have the kind of conversation that we're having now today.
Okay. And now we'll go over to Bible where I get a question you will ask.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chernoh. You mentioned something where you will talk about corruption. Say this particular government then they defend certain people when it comes to corruption investigation na the own side. So we dey play some videos them inside one of our publication again. Usai we been get for understand say the first lady tamper with saloon couple. Usai the caretaker when a caretaker bio been come and talk. Now a video usai in the interview I'm say the first lady the money when they allege for say it take he not use them for going to shopping mall at all, but he use this money for spend them to the people. So we don't picking them sorry. So we don't picking them now the country. So for him as a caretaker, he no see no need waiting for audit in your woman in office. What do you think about that statement to somebody where talk say in your fight against corruption, it open to everybody, even somebody where they na in your government. Now that what the first even tell me. But now it don't see them, it defend some people. And what do you think about that statement they against woman where they talk?
Well, for we the Africanist press, we're not surprised that that not the position of the president, because and the reason why we decide to highlight corruption right on the head and the feet of the presidency, because that was the only way you were going to test.
Okay, lab briefly quick, please try hard. Low talk the crew, find other people understand.
Okay, thank you.
So I want to tell thank you to somebody. I think it's somebody just comment about that, and it makes sense anyway.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'll be fixing a crew they talk. I may not be saying that. Nah,
I don't know more because we get now we get different type of educated people, educated fools, educated now
anyway
dominion and all.
Yeah, so we're not surprised say the president come out for defending wife on the issue of corruption at the country. In fact, that make we decide say we go publish exactly things them where they show say the president himself and his wife now they involved with the corruption as alone. So, but these are the important point. What I think say you question very important are the fact that at the time with the president they come out for defend his wife and defend the corruption inside in government. Still, even there was an investigation when they go on with the anti-corruption commission when they carry with, and they don't conclude that investigation if you remember, because this was April 2021, and the anti-corruption only so-called conclusion of the investigation happened in June. So the president don't already conclude say his wife no do anything. If even no saying wife not do anything, then the anti-corruption commission will not have carried out an investigation in the first place. So the anti-corruption commission said that they investigate the disbursement of money. Before we can talk about whether I get right for do that or not, these are the simple thing. The anti-corruption, they carry out an investigation on the report regarding the receipt of public funds by the wife of the president, the receipt and use of public funds by the wife of the president. Now, the president no wait for make the investigation conclude. Oh, the president come na radio, he go na public one all over the media and salon, he defend his wife. So there and then, you don't know, say instantly, even if the anti-corruption commission investigation was a normal investigation, a truthful investigation, the president don't tamper with the credibility of the investigation. So the president don't give a conclusion regarding the investigation before the anti-corruption give his own conclusion. And when the anti-corruption in conclusion came out, it was exactly what the president said, was what came out in the anti-corruption so-called conclusion of the investigation. But yes, the wife of the president is just the wife of the president. What you call first lady is another name for the wife of a president. The first lady is not a government official. The first lady is not an elected official. The first lady is not an appointed official. The first lady was not approved by parliament to occupy what you call a first lady. The first lady is a first lady because the first lady got married to a politician who became the president of the country and by extension became the wife of the president. That's what you call a first lady. Okay, so which means the first lady has no business in the governance architecture of the country. The first lady's business has nothing to do with governance. The first lady's business is to be the wife of a president who was elected by the people of Sierra Leone. That is how our laws are structured. So if the first lady is a private citizen that is married to the wife of the president, the first lady has no business dealing with money of the country. And no individual or institution in Sierra Leone get right for spend government money, public money, without approval of parliament. And parliamentarians and parliament talk say they were not aware that the Ministry of Finance was giving money to the wife of the president to do anything. So in the first place, it was illegal for the wife of the president to be given money, to be given public money, because the only justification they say because now the wife of the president. So that in itself is unlawful, now illegal disbursement. And not only illegal disbursement, it was a money that was allocated to the wife of the president without the knowledge of the people of Sierra Leone. It was money that was given to the wife of the president without the approval of parliament that's supposed to approve spending. Okay. When the publications come out, parliamentarians said they were shocked by the fact to learn that there is evidence that was released by Africanist press, including bank statements, transaction details, transaction number, and names of individuals who took the money on behalf, who gave the money to the wife of the president, and all these transactions. So Parliament said and shocked. The NGC leadership and the APC leadership in Parliament wrote a letter to the Ministry of Finance and the bank governor asking, say, make them come, make them send document for proof whether this thing or not. They never followed up.
They even talk at the well of Parliament.
Yeah, they even talking at the well of Parliament. But both the parliamentarians who raised that in the opposition, NGC and APC, they never told the people of Sierra Leone whether they found out that the money that was given to the wife of the president was actually, the publication will be making that true, and they had asked for clarification. They not tell me whether they clarified it to be so or not. What happened later on? The Ministry of Finance issued a statement justifying that, yes, indeed, then give money to the wife of the president, but then things say, then get right for Dua. But
they got them the capitalize the 1% of the money where they can.
Yeah, they say 1% of the money, which is also a wrong interpretation of the legislation. Because even if you spend money on worthwhile causes, you have to go back to Parliament to seek parliamentary approval. There is no evidence that both in the budgetary estimates that they submitted for all those years and the supplementary budgetary estimates that were taken to Parliament for additional money, additional approval of additional expenditure, get any line we can for deal with the office of the First Lady. So the only time the people of Salone know say exactly the wife of the president has been a recipient of public money was when we showed the evidence. We not only report and say it was, we show concrete evidence. And so that on one side, we showed that the wife of the president has been receiving money from the beginning, from the day when Nkana Power. 1 month after Nkana Power, they set up a special account for her in the Bank of Sierra Leone and begin transfer money. We showed how that money, those monies were being given secretly. And then we also show how he spent the money. They were going there with bags and people they were sending to take these monies out. Then spend out. Okay, now the president's argument, if we go for take the argument, say spend out on with Bikini. But we showed that these monies were spent on supposed furniture. Every day they take this money and go give to AA Enterprises, say that furniture in they buy. Then they give for petrol all the time. We show all them here how you go to buy furniture every month. We show the amount of money, then 50 million, 100 million, 200 million. Who does that? Continuously. So we don't show and money the way they give to so companies and buy ticket. So basically, we are talking about over $5 million that was secretly given by Ministry of Finance officials to the wife of the president simply because the woman is married to the president. And this money was given to her secretly without the knowledge of the people of Sierra Leone, without the knowledge of Parliament. That was why, if you remember, the wife of the president had insisted that he not be to receive any money, because if you not say this thing a normal, like true, a genuine thing, they were not going to hide it.
But if you can remember, long ago when this conversation came up, you know, when we watch on a publication, we'll be able to bring a video out. Also, first, it gets two different statements then. First,
exactly,
it say in office, not a government office, in lucky that a man set up and for them. When the pressure don't come up from Africanist press, it talks say in office, na government office, na part of government. Before this time, it talks say he not receive any money, including in married, he not receive 1 cup water safe. But when the pressure don't come, He even come out on Facebook page for challenge you and talk say, who that you expect say for pay or for pay them money then he just get forget money from the government for pay. But when he go to BBC, he refuse for tell them say he pay them the accommodation, he pay them the transport, he pay everything for them. He just say he responsible for the accommodation, which means he lied to BBC because he no say that in the international media and other first lady them go listen. In my own opinion, I think say he not even take that money and give according to what he been talk, say, he pay accommodation, pay this. Then people need to take care of themselves. So if you talk in international media, it go expose himself and that could be a problem for him as well.
And that one aspect, don't forget about even the money where Parliament, where the Minister of Finance give the First Lady to the Bank of Sierra Leone. That's not one aspect. We get another aspect where we show, where people are not even talk about. We're not the fact that up to now, the wife of the president and the president get a private charitable organization that they call the Mada and Fatima Bio Foundation. This is an organization where they set up with them in London, registered in England, and also registered in Sierra Leone. This organization don't they receive government money in two forms. Then they get a bank account now, the Guaranteed Trust Bank. We don't publish the bank account, we don't publish the bank account details, and also evidence where they should say. Then they work around to government ministries and departments, including the Petroleum Regulatory Agency, to NACIT, to all them wire. Then they collect money, like how they collect Osusu contribution. Then they collect on them MDAs they had in hand and go put on the private account. We also don't show say the wife of the president even write letter then to businessman and politician with political appointees and say when I contribute to me Hands of Our Girls campaign. Then they give and check and money. They direct them say when I go pay on the private bank account where the Fatima and Mada Bio Foundation. Then a clear example of how somebody they peddle influence. They use the name of the president and then position as husband and wife who are as the wife of a president for take money from business people and politicians and political appointees in government, also to the private account run by a foundation that is owned by the president and the wife of the president. How much evidence do you need about high-profile corruption?
And then not only they take money from them, as well they tell them, say, if you
tell them,
this,
say, once you don't give this money again, they come attend a dinner. Then they organize dinner. Basically, the dinner, then they use the dinner as a way for sell tickets. So they, based on the amount of money where you give, if you give 10 billion, so you did at the front way, near a seat where they near the president. So your contribution and they determine how far you go in at it, your table go there far from the president. Basically, they use the image of the presidency for take money from public officials. And don't go to the point, don't institutionalize them. Very few months ago, I think 2 months ago or 1 month ago, they even go to the point of printing the picture of the president and sell them to business people there. I mean, sell them to political appointees, heads of MDAs. Then they bid to the extent that some they 200 million, 300 million, because what they want for do, now for legitimize this ongoing stealing of public money through the use of the image, the face, and the position of the president with promises for a political appointment, with promises for business affiliation. Again, all them companies there, yeah, from the Africa Petroleum Products to the AfriCell, to all these business people in the country who are evading taxes, not paying taxes, not paying proper import dues. They contribute in exchange to this foundation that is run by the president.
As somebody where they investigate money business, the way how they mismanage the corporate of the country, this money where you talk about, so the portrait of the president, yeah, the caretaker, when they then sell them. We find out, say, in the audit report, in publication where una self be don't do, for example, we find out, say, this then just find way for cover. Let not be say that they take money directly. But we don't see reports from you and the audit service where they don't come out and talk, say, like for example, NACIT, then they take money they directly for give their young people them and fund their young projects them where they're not even able to account for them. And not even then NACIT the mandate and any other parastatal their mandate.
Of course, not just NACIT no more. All the government offices there. We don't show our ministries. We don't show evidence of the chief minister's office. check numbers where they write from 50 million to 25 million, 10 million when they contribute to that account. We don't show over 250 million from the Petroleum Regulatory Agency. Virtually every government account where you look, ministry, department, and agency account where you look, you must find 1, 2, or 3 transactions of checks written in 50 million, 100 million, or more as donation, government money donated to the president in foundation. Who donates government money to the? You take public money, you the donator to a NGO, where the president get her. Who does that kind of thing? That's legalized stealing of public wealth. And then when people are talking about it, you decide, you call your ministers and heads of MDA, say, you know what, they can make one kind of exhibition. We pretend say when they buy them here, like when I don't give money, I just announce them when I don't pay 200 million. When I take picture. I mean, that is what they did. They went to this hotel, having already arranged with this NATCOM head and all these other people they went to appoint, when appointees of the president, and tell them, say, just can't bid no more, say they give 500 million. Basically, even when these people not give the money, they had already given this money before. So now when in future, when you begin for check, you see, say, oh, NATCOM been give the president in foundation, Madam Fatima Bill Foundation, 200 million. You say, no, that 200 million will be buy the picture. But this 200 million you're talking about, it's not coming from the pocket of Kaitibi or all these other individuals. It's basically drawn out of government accounts, out of public money that was given to them to run the activities of the agency. And now that money is being diverted and taken into the private bank accounts of the wife of the president and the president. So okay. how much evidence do our parliament or parliamentarians who are concerned about transparency and accountability and corruption need for beginning to invite the bank governor, for beginning to invite these people in charge of our finances to come to parliament and answer to this question? They will not do it. They have not done it. They did not even follow up.
I don't know, but at the same time, you know, forget the last person we get saying at parliament are the speaker, and we all know.
But the fact of the matter is, they have never. Then he able to hold a press conference and talk. So we don't try for call this. They have not done it.
And you feel disappointed about that?
No, not disappointed though. It's because many of these individuals who've come to trust and put our hopes on are individuals who have let the people down. They've let the future of the country down. They know what they are doing. They are complicit in the arrangement that keeps the country where it is, because it's an organized racket for the most part. That is not to say we do not have independent people. We have great MPs like Abdul Kagbo and AKK and others who have been struggling in parliament to get transparency questions part of the conversation, and they're marginalized. But how can you as an MP, opposition leaders, write a letter to the Minister of Finance and the bank governor asking for clarification regarding finances, public finances, and you never made a follow-up on it?
Okay.
You know, if I make a follow-up on issues like that. So it's an indictment. It's an indictment on them. You know, that they can pretend to act on an issue when they know they are not really acting. They just it's a performance.
A small bit from this parliament issue, because plenty people will get a question when they ask now. Africanist press. Now they begin or they don't begin first. They now look at the way how una work and the way how the population they look at una work. For example, during the APC term, una been they publish things them. We find out say even the caretaker when in a be opposition, it don't they publish una work. I mean, it don't they repost them. Now the one that will be lek una then and the way be the SLPP. Not like una right now. Now na APC. How una can take them things there? What exactly you want to say with regards this particular way, how they things they change in terms of how una they work? Because we said on they explain them several things there. So, but let me hear you from me first.
Yeah, I think that an important question for me. A learning process. I've done, if I make them in simple terms, we roll now like the role of a DJ in simple terms. The role of a DJ in a club, you know. So you, at some point you play music if you're not a DJ for people where they go to a club, where the DJ play music where everybody comes on stage and dance. Because by coincidence, the DJ has made a choice. You don't do a selection where everybody then kind of the stage and dance. Then you change the music, you play other one, then some other people they not like that music, they then go sit down. So the other one, and sometimes it gets to a point where you play the music, nobody dances. Why? Because they don't like what you're saying. So what am I saying? Now, the fact that it's not about what the public wants, it's about what is right. It's about what is right. So you get to a point where at some point you play a particular song, a section of your audience like that song, and they dance. The other time you do the other section back the side, or some other time all of them will come to the stage. But the role of the DJ is always to play the music, is to make sure that there's music on the dance floor. And to the extent that you have to loud that music, make sure that the music is so loud that no other thing no go. So when people who go to clubs, sometimes if you want to get a conversation safe, you know, go pass the hala or personal command do. So that is the kind of role that I think we have come to occupy. At some point, we will write, depending on where they stand, they will dance for us. Sometimes when it is not in their liking, they will not dance. But our own role is to produce that information, to write it, and we see. So sitting back, you're able to look at the stage, you see the individuals who perform, who dance. They dance because you've played a song or a choice of a song that tends to suit their own liking. So it's a coincidence of your choice coincide with their own desires and things that they like, so they perform. When you choose another one, they decide, no, this will not like her. But always you as the DJ, your role there is not basically to pay attention to the stage as such, as opposed to making sure there's music on the stage, good music. So that good music again depends on your own choice. So we have to amplify the velocity and the volume of the music that we play, to the extent that even if people don't like it, they have to hear it. They're not, then go hear regardless of whether they dance or they don't dance, they will hear it. So that is the role. That is part of the game. Part of the game is to understand that even when people are not dancing, you have to amplify the velocity of the sound and the music and the instruments that you play, to the extent that they cannot ignore it. They will have to listen to it. They will have to listen to it even if they don't dance to it. So that's how I can see my role and the role of the Africanist press. We find ourselves in a situation where we have to continuously do what we do, regardless of who is happy and who is unhappy, as long as what we do serves the interests of the public and serves the interest of the stage. And the interest of the stage is to make sure that it is always alive. There is sound on the stage. There's music on the stage.
Within the same side, plenty people been done to follow you work long years ago. Some people not been know about you at all, like only now. Me now one person we been done interview we been the interview because for one long years ago during the last government. I get reason because a link to this question why I ask this. I don't explain long time now so about the role where some of we don't play even during the last government where we be done they stand up to certain things them. You know one person will be very very hard. You know, I want you can look now at the two how it like for work during the two under the former caretaker Anes by Kuruma and under this caretaker Julius Madabio with regards freedom of how people can get right for talk about corruption and other issues them in the country. Because during the 10 and day where you been finding yourself now a party like NDA, you then at the socialist movement or so, you as well be very very much rough. In my opinion, I've been feel say you been more rough during the last government than now, because then and you didn't the ground, they say things them we're very critical about the government, but we not ever hear them say they arrest you. Tell me something, how you go arrest it too? How you go assess the two in terms of how people can make points about things the way they go on, especially on the issue of corruption and other things then?
Of course, they compare the two, it's incomparable. And as much as I remain critical of the APC under Mr. Kuruma at the time from 2008 right up to 2018 for those 10 years, I will tell you upfront that taking the corruption aside, putting it aside, that's not before we come to the corruption, the level of tolerance is not the same. We get the worst. The situation is worse today 10 times more than we had in all the 10 years back, you know. And I say that as somebody who engage both governments and both dispensations, if you like. For the 10 years we were active in Salon under the APC, the recent APC of Ernest Koroma. I was going to every radio station, including the radio station we did 98.1. Everybody, I had free platform, free space to debate with the issues. I interacted with everybody in the past government. There are government ministers, yourself now a witness to that. Ministries of information, to everybody that was speaking for the government, interacted with me on SLBC, to every other radio station in the country, and every place. And from one radio station after a radio station, my voice was more, you can say, like I say, caustic in a way, brutally honest about what was happening at the time. In fact, now that made the SLPP at the time, you know, took the cue from me, both verbally and even what I wrote.
Yeah,
they
I
cannot,
remember the time of Tambasam.
Yeah, Tambasam and other people, they had to follow up on what I say. I take the lead in terms of my voice and how my precision regarding what I say was what determined, to the most part, what some of them will say. So, but as you say, no journalist not prevent me. I never had a situation where SLBC interviewed me more than almost any other critical voice at the time among people who spoke for parties. And the evidence is there, right, with them. But they cannot interview me today. They're afraid for doing. You know, the SLBC don't even suspend a staff because the person interviewed me for a different radio station, but the person was working for them. Then go to the point that then cut the employment of this senior journalist, simply because this senior journalist was reporting for an international media institution and had interviewed me regarding the publication we will make on the First Lady, not on SLBC, but was broadcast on a different foreign radio station. So the SLBC was forced to terminate the employment contract where these journalists get with them. But that never happened under Ernest Koroma when I was there. I never experienced it. So if you ask me, we are faced with a worse situation, 10 times more, that cannot even be compared. And why it becomes so difficult? Because this government is more corrupt. We fought corruption in the past, but this one is more corrupt. Equally so it has become more intolerant, more violent. You know, nobody will get my talk what we've been saying in the past. In fact, even if radio station journalists, where they work for some of these radio stations, one for interview, they will like what you're saying, but they don't want to lose their jobs, some of them. Some of them are also beneficiaries of what is happening. So they like to keep it that way.
Because
so
I think I can stand to that fact. Say, like 98.14, so say maybe in the work, for example.
If they call me safe.
Sorry?
I say they made a search, even that they made a search for me.
Yes, because then they be very much critical about Ernest by Koroma in government.
Yeah,
and the voice
to balance the conversation, they have to bring us. Now it's impossible.
And now even when you reach out to some of them, you can't.
You cannot. You know that you saw I even posted on my Facebook page, say, then they get conversation with they call the Anti-Corruption Commission but talk about corruption, directly responding to with publications mentioned in Africanist press, but they cannot give us the right to respond, even when we request it. So for the whole time that we started, now only once they've dared to do that, and then again they were doing it because they had to bring in people to talk about our. It will be too obvious for them not to. So the fact of the matter, looking at the situation, you cannot compare what is happening today with what has happened in the past. These people have made the Ernest by Koroma government look saint-like. So those of us who oppose corruption, who oppose bad governance, as we saw it between 2008 and 2018, looking at what is happening today in these 4 years of Mother Bill, made what we did in the past a complete play, because now the landscape has changed worse than it was 10 times over than what we expect. And then the fact, you don't even need, We've never had a situation where a mad person, somebody considered for say this man a crazy man, all man they make fun of and say a crazy man. You get a police under this government, they go arrest that person, they keep an at CID, take statement from crazy man. You got to a point where police officers
understatement. The IG of INSESF now the possible prosecute.
Like they say, you have an Inspector General of Police who ordered the arrest of a crazy human being, somebody citizen that is mad. Not only arrest them, go keep out, but then take statement. You have police officers sitting there interviewing a lunatic person, take statement of that person. Then not only that, take that person, carry and go to court for stand trial. Is that a country you're talking about?
Right. I'll hold you there quick. And since we don't
so you only need to look that one, whether they were doing it as a performance for scared people then, but that is to tell you the extent of state madness. It's state madness. We cannot have a government that has gone mad.
You know, when you talk about
you don't compare that with anything. So you should not even ask the question whether we have to compare Mada BO and another person. We are faced with national madness.
So this same person where you talk about when the madman, say, for example, if me and a Christmas they arrest me, Mada BO na Wetin, I will let you so I know how to answer that question.
All right, you already watch the program. Don't forget say you watch this program we had channel. Not forget for share the program so other people and they again for get this kind of education from we brought away Nadi Karafilo, and also not forget for hit the like button for we. Well, I tell you now, say we start the ball rolling by coaxing the ball now. We don't reach now the 18-yard box. Well, Kabiobi say the game don't balabala instead of babala. We the one now. Chernoh, we get a question I want to ask you because Baku people and don't they trouble themselves from this particular thing where they try to ask you, well, bang don't they day, whether they say this, whether they say that. But since you now another big personality when it comes in the area they are, people they can gain from you on this question. Now, what do you think? But the caretaker, a speech where again at the reopening of the parliament, what do you think about that statement there? Because this statement don't count. Baku arguments, both social media and other platforms then. What do you think?
Especially on the area of corruption.
No, before we come to that, we got to recognize one biggest limitation we get right now, the fact that we have a president who cannot read. You don't understand.
Come again. I don't understand.
We get a president who able to read.
But we can see the whole paper.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To hold the paper and to begin to count the words in that paper and somebody who is reading, you don't understand, are two different things. So for me, the greatest, before we talk about the content of the speech, we will talk about whether the speech was actually the challenge we face. Because I have a son who is a kindergarten, almost they go second grader. So if they read, I got impressed. I say, I admire how you read. But now we have a head of state, a president who cannot actually read his own speech. Okay, for the whole time. So you begin to listen.
And a doctor.
Because you want to listen for make you understand whether the government is saying something that is right or something that is wrong. So for the whole time, you feel pity for the parliamentarians and the audience that is listening to someone who is unable to read. And you have diplomats sitting there in parliament. They invited diplomats. And for the whole time, you listen again to these noisy party members who are clapping for somebody who was actually struggling to read. So that kind of torture, that is what amazes me, that people go able, parliamentarians will be sitting there for the whole time, going through that pain of listening to a president who could barely read through the pages that have been written out and that he has studied and comes to the podium. Is unable.
In most cases, we can say it's not a study at all. It can just can't watch, and that is why.
Because once you have a script, you definitely get for reader for no say they not write mamikos inside other thing than they inside it. So you must read that. So whichever way he has studied it. So he don't study this speech. He can't now for can't read the parliamentarian and he don't the whole time looking at this man cannot read. That in itself imagine the kind of torture and difficulty for listener and listen. Now come to what you are. If you go back and read that now for yourself and see what was actually written there. When you look at the question of corruption, there is nothing he will say other than for say MCC been don't rate me, they don't say me I do good and things like that. And we all know where that is now. So basically, it is difficult for me to assess that kind of speech in the sense that my greatest problem is the fact that the president cannot read. The president has difficulty reading his own speech. So until we arrive at that point where we have to ensure that those who are around him make sure he practice very well and come and show where he read, really not just for country word them, because mispronunciation of words and other thing, but the fact that you cannot start a sentence and end and or read how it's supposed for reader, then are the biggest problem what we need to worry about than whether the social lie inside the thing, reflect the condition of the people, now just things them way no actually you're not supposed to say. So I was not really concerned about the lies inside the speech, the propaganda inside the speech, the obvious half-truth and things like that. That was not my problem. My problem is that the speech, the reopening of parliament show the extent to which our leadership of the country is inefficient, that we are led by a group of not only corrupt and despotic individuals, but people who are grossly incompetent, people who are a president who can not read for a country like ours, representing us, and at that level where we have our members of parliament going through the pain and the torture of listening to someone who cannot read. I think for me that is the problem. So I will stop at that.
So Chernoh, the caretaker, na doctor. How you can tell we say a doctor cannot read? I don't understand.
But that's obvious. Tell me if you know if you say the president can read in speech. I believe everybody knows that he cannot read.
We not will tell you anything. Let me ask you this back. Now, in a speech, you get people where they talk then speech. They not read them. They really follow them talk read them, but they talk them because they don't take them up. You get the one where they read them. And then whose category? I don't know now. Who's number 3? If you for talk, I don't want to say they read. Whose category where you put them? Because at least it bang and bang.
It's simple. He is incapable of reading. That is the point. There is no other word you could use. So for me, it is difficult to talk about the content of the speech. What we should be talking about, what we should talk about is the level of resilience of parliamentarians and the audience for listening to that kind of a psychological torture, sitting there and listening to a president who is counting, struggling to read a speech in front of that group of parliamentarians. So I see this newspaper they published say some of the ministers were sleeping when he was reading. I get this newspaper headline that says some were sleeping.
Mm-hmm. I see that. I get a video of them.
For me, I understand why. When I saw that newspaper, I looked at it, I said the journalist should have extended it. If I don't look at the cause, why these people are sleeping. It's not because perhaps they are tired. It's not because it is torture by itself to sit down, listening, because you have no choice to sit down and begin to look at somebody who can barely read.
So in other words,
where they look at, if you're not a teacher, you tell Pekin say read, you see the read bad. You go even vex. You understand? And now imagine a president who has appointed you. You are there not because you want to be there, but you have to be there, and then you are listening to someone who cannot read. Imagine if you've not been a teacher, they look at that school picking out, they read, they struggle for it. So what will you do? You go vex. You stop and say, but left. You go even tell and say, no. You get angry. When you see your child struggling to read, sometimes you get irritated. So when the journalists reported that some of the ministers or political appointees were sleeping when the president was reading his speech, when they were in parliament, what the journalists should have done is to look at the cause, the reason why they were sleeping. I would say one of that is because they were trying is one way to escape that torture, that mental torture of listening to someone who cannot read. And you have no power to stop the individual. You have no power to say otherwise. You just have to say, might just blank out and not go through this kind of pain. So I commend the parliamentarians in the opposition and other people who were there, the diplomats, who decided that they will go through the torture of listening and watching this struggle that was happening coming from the president. I admire their courage and their resilience. So for me, if you ask me to assess the whole performance in Parliament, that's what I take away from it, that we really have resilient people. They're able to bear. That's why perhaps people can also live under a dictatorship, because that's so close you can come to incompetence and being unable to do anything.
Okay, so let's come in quick here. Since we didn't talk about this, let's just hear it in speech. But interestingly, most people know him for Yeri because I get somebody where don't tell me simple say impression they go up where they listen to them. Maybe because of all of their reason they also.
Yeah, the main thing that because there are people who you will not like, but you like how they speak.
Yes.
You don't understand, because they are very intelligent.
Exactly.
Very intelligent. You go disagree with them, but you will say, this person, this you give them that as a quality. But this is someone, apart from his terroristic approach to governance, the corruption, is also incompetent, grossly incompetent.
Okay, you don't summarize this one already what they can play, but let's just listen and quick. We come back just now.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, fighting against corruption. My government's fight against corruption is unabated because it is linked to the future of this nation. Corruption stifles economic growth and destroys national reputation. It diverts crucial funds from healthcare, public infrastructure, security, food security. It undermines political stability and entrenches injustice and inequality, and widens the gap between the rich and the poor. The fight is dear to my heart. Our Anti-Corruption Commission has recruited more prosecutors, formalized the creation of various units, such as the appeals unit and the civil assets recovery unit, broadened the mandate of the Anti-Corruption Act number 12 of 2008 to include the investigation and prosecution of offences committed under the Anti-Money Laundering and Combating of Financing of Terrorism Act, increased the number of prosecutions and won a higher number of convictions for corruption offences. The Commission also extended its mandate to the prosecution of examination malpractices and other acts of corruption relating to the education sector. Undertook extensive random review of compliance practices as well as practice and procedures in various MDAs, received an 87% response to asset forms inquiries, partnered with MDAs and the civil society organizations to promote public education about corruption, and successfully monitored and reported on the implementation of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy. As a consequence of my government's action, Sierra Leone again consistently increased its score in the control of corruption indicator of the Millennium Corporation of the Millennium Challenge Corporation scorecard to an unprecedented 83% from 81% in 2020. The country's scorecard in 2017 was a woeful 49%. When I first addressed this honorable house 4 years ago, the world was in a vastly different place. At the time, I brought to this house plans to translate campaign promises into policy actions, to tackle troubling inflation and low revenue mobilization, to introduce disciplined leadership and efficiency, even in the face of dire economic situation we inherited as a government. No one, I can say, could have predicted then that we would also be tackling a global pandemic that will cause unprecedented disruptions, irrational spikes, and uncertainties within the global economy. And the words of Martin Luther King, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moment of comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge. I dare say, ladies and gentlemen, that the ultimate measure of a leader and a nation lies in the ability not just to weather its storms, but to emerge hopeful and resilient. And that is Sierra Leone. And you know, even the APC shares that glory. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, it is my great honor to lead this nation during these challenging times. But I'm here today not to dwell on these challenges. I want to show just how far we have come together.
All right. So, Mr. Chernoh, we don't play you the video, but something be they happen when the caretaker they read this speech. If you watch the vice caretaker Sidom Niaram, it was so torment, start they making hand like this, they rub behind like this, like, oh, this man they embarrass we as a nation, you know. And they find out say some lines themselves na the speech, the caretaker they jump them.
By
just for making
way, I man no say the jump
underlies them way. The body language, you know, the way how you play, you make actions them. Honestly speaking, you know, when somebody they do something like this, if you na possibly when a technical somebody, when you watch in body language, yes, they know what's in they go on. You understand? You see you man where they pull in at the mic, they cross so, and then VP, he just they make you answer like, oh, this man they pan disgraceful. You know, it's like waiting we bother analyze, but caretaker say, you know, they read well. I think say that too. Mr. Chernoh, how you assess the body language of the vice caretaker at that moment?
It's obvious that it always when you know say somebody no competent for do a particular task, and you're there around the person and you are all aware of the inefficiency of the individual, you're always worried. But it's a question that for me, in that make I talk say I admired while I look at the whole parliamentary thing, what I admire now the courage and the resilience of the parliamentarians and the audience for sit down there and they observe that particular difficulty. That are the highest exhibition of state incompetence. We will not need another evidence for arrive at the conclusion, say we have a president who is grossly incompetent. Because if somebody cannot read, cannot barely read, he can barely read his own statement. This is not something we just take from nowhere and can't get more. It's something that has been written, that has been studied, that has been discussed, and you come to the stage, you can't read it properly. So you can disagree with people. This is the thing, you can disagree with somebody, you not agree with the person, but you recognize the person in qualities. But here we have someone who is corrupt, who has a passion for dictatorship, for becoming a dictator. And then on top of that is also somebody who cannot represent us effectively in any shape or form. He's addressing parliament, he cannot read his speech. How you will get a conversation with this kind of individuals regarding what it takes to run a country? So I think the discourse in whether the content of the speech speak to the reality of the situation or not, for me, I will not waste my time on it. So I know they waste my time on that one. But every time I look at an event like that, I look at that struggle in reading a speech. Because somebody will read something, how you go to read first? How will the speech make sense to people who are listening? If you know they will read and fine, that means you know they read and fine. And if you know you read and fine, you go able to understand. So except you take the script and you go read and for yourself because you know say, oh, that is the type of talk about. So that is the problem. We get for recognize say that parliamentary state opening is just they don't think as that way just for do no more. That way the president is supposed to do like constitutional activity we're supposed to happen every year. So he comes there and shows up and then decide for subject the people away today into that kind of mental torture. That's what they've been going through for the last 4 years.
Okay. So
sitting there and listening to somebody who cannot read the script, then the beer, they manage to go through and they're able, they get courage. So I think we have to commend them for that. No, we have to commend these parliamentarians because when they are going there to debate, they know they debate within the president also. They have to read every word now because nothing that he says there is something that is coherent.
Okay.
So if you know
now I see the reason why like Chernoh in the parliament, Chernoh, one of I think last year's speech been very mad about the short speech where he go deliver because now they get for read word for word. You find out say waiting in the speech with waiting he read it will be two different something. So they're not gonna get no way for all into account. But let we leave that speech here. Let we go to something serious. Let's go to our present day work. Because this one very important and I think say we need for put we attention we and inside and day seriously. Because we been on the trident days there for the try for analyze some of them things there. But we not just pass by. We not we get a business. Let me ask you this question. The issue of salary disparities. The kind way how difference, big gap they by the way how they pay some certain people, how some people they get rent allowance, how you call them wardrobe allowance and other things then. What in now the main thing we make una pay una attention now to the issue of difference in salary, especially for the one that when a political appointees them.
I think the question of the payroll and wages, if we want to resolve part of the problem as alone, now we get to focus on as a start. Why it's important to look at salaries is to tell you why everybody in the country is supporting what is happening in the country now. For example, I will tell you, say you have many government officials who will never have worked under Madabio if you be say they had other options for get better pay. Okay, but so basically people who are insulting us now, not because they insult because they like Madabio or they support what is happening, they believe it's right, they are doing that because they recognize the fact that their current pay is as a consequence of what is happening in the country. So basically, not because of their qualifications, not because of their competence, but because of the fact that they are tied to the political party in power. They are tied, not just the political party in power, but the individual who is in power. For example, you get the case of the president's nutritionist, who then develop a salary of over 21 million for a month. And this is not an individual who is a nutritionist. No, this was just somebody where the president made a sense turn around. That's a close associate of the president. So the president comes to power, they realize the need for create an appointment, a role for him. They're not getting no other way for column, then decide to say, then they make a nutritionist, then get a nutritionist position. That nutritionist gets a salary that is 2 times the salary of a senior lecturer. Senior lecturer and somebody with a PhD. So you find out, say, the only thing will make this person get more salary past the senior lecturer at the university now because this person is connected to the president. So you find out, say, the person at the university, regardless of that time we don't spend, they will get the salary of this nutritionist because he's not a politician. He not get associated with the people in power. So this is why everybody want to have a flag bearer of their own choice leading a party. Now this make the question of the imbalance in the wage bill and don't cause even internal party politics is violent. So you have people in the APC, for example, in the opposition, they have 5 camps. Each of these camps are made up of people supporting 5 flag bearers. Each one of them will go fight among themselves for saying that the own flag bearer will be. Why? Because once your own flag bearer occupies State House, that is what determines which position you get for holding the administration. And that position involves salary and allowances and things, not because you qualify, not because of the war I don't fight, the political war I don't fight. So you get to power, salary is one way to compensate these people for their loyalty to the party war. Then it becomes an ethnic war at the national level. So this is why you find out you get a lot of people with PhDs now. They do not go to the university to teach, but they have to come to State House for me to make the heads of department, policy advisors and consultants and this, because that is where they get big salaries. That is where they get rent allowances. That is 4 times or 5 times the salary of their own colleagues who are still in the classroom. So that this make you find out, say, 80 to 90% of universities today are staffed by people who do not hold PhDs. Majority of our PhD holders will leave the classroom as soon as they become appointed as people, in the public service. They get political appointments, political assignments. They leave, they come there, not because they want to help the country or they want for equality, they go help. No, that is where they get paid because, for example, the purpose of the PhD is to make you a university teacher, or make you go to the university and teach and carry out research that helps society. That's how you help society. But when you go in a classroom right now, if you're in a PhD, the lecturers do not even get better office in the first place. They have no office that is furnished. They have no money to buy books for their research. They have, the condition of teaching in the university is horrible. The university not even get classrooms for students. So how can a lecturer teach? But when they appoint you from there, you come to State House, you get $5,000 salary, for example. You get the equivalent of that same amount for rent. You get free petrol, free road safe. So you don't want to be in the classroom. You only be in the classroom because you have no choice to be. So when we begin to harmonize salaries and begin pay people, if you not done one aspect of force, the second aspect, you have people in the service who have worked for many years. Sometimes they grade 10. Then go appoint somebody today, they make certain a grade 7 or grade 8 person. Because of the association with the people in power, they get 4 times your salary. You now at the same level, so you get more qualifications past the person, you then a higher grade, you get less good stuff. So basically the payroll is now the instrument that the state is using to capture. Now an instrument to state capture. Now that makes you say now they don't increase salaries of NEC commissioners to 30 to 100%. They increase the salaries of military commanders, increase the salary of PPRC, increase the salary and working conditions of judges. So you find out that all these individuals now wait for serve as individuals who help make with democracy work, help to protect the interests of citizens. They are not protecting the interests of citizens, but they have to protect the interests of the politicians who have given them these salaries, who have given them these working benefits. So the greater majority of the civil service and civil servants, where they actually do the work, where they don't labor and don't make the civil service and public service their career, where they work and then qualified, then they work under conditions that are horrible. So if we fix salaries, where, for example, a grade 8 public service worker, whether you're in a State House, you're in a Ministry of Finance, you're in the classroom, you're in the water key, you're in a airport, when all they get the same salary, I will tell you that the violence would experience in intra-party politics and inter-party politics will reduce. The level of ethnic warfare, what we don't get into with party, will reduce, because that's how are they, what you would think about now, which politician we will kind of power, we will talk about increase in condition of service for workers and workers' interest, and then we will talk about. So if you're not a teacher now, you will look for somebody who will increase teacher and welfare. Not to somebody who will can't say, go appoint the teacher from the classroom, make the teacher be a consultant in a State House. So we have to, and this not in a way the government be also identify as a problem. That part of the problem in Sierra Leone are the fact that the salary scale and the salary structure within the civil and public service is unharmonized. It has to be harmonized. This is not a manifesto promise of the BO administration when they were campaigning. It's in their manifesto. So then talk about that. Say if you're not director, now the Ministry of Fisheries, you're not director, now NRA, you're not director, now Wataki, or you're not director of State House, now salaries get to be the same. But they haven't done that. They have only increased the salaries of their own political appointees, people they brought into the service, new, some who are less qualified, and now earning 3 times, 4 times, 5 times more than people who are highly qualified, who have been in the service, who have labored right through their life. Their salaries could barely pay their rent. Their salary not even take care of their family, not even buy rest and plus us money. So that is the problem. We have to fix salaries. If we fix with salaries and create condition of service for we lecturers then, for we teachers then, for we healthcare workers, for we nurses, for everybody in the public service, including we soldiers, we police officers, and all of this, that's one way also of dealing with corruption. It's one way of making sure the people don't say, hey, who signed that point here? Don't say me now attack. How much salary? Say salary no better, but mass day. So basically what you do not get in salaries, you compensate through other means. How do you expect to hold people accountable to minimum standards of transparency and anti-graft principles when these people are not rewarded? When people where you don't come with, where these people qualify pass, or when are their schoolmates, because they have just been in party and they get party affiliations, family affiliations, we put them in particular positions, they earn 10 times more than the other people that they went to school with. That's injustice. That workplace injustice, na part of the problem, na part of the Sierra Leonean problem. That workplace injustice, the imbalance in salary structure, disharmonized salary, this inequity in the workplace, inequality in the pay scale, pay structure, workplace privileges, now don't lead to this endemic corruption and nepotism and all the other things we make now. Now we not get functional institutions, we not get better education at the country because the professionals who should serve as teachers, who should serve as lecturers, no one for teaching at the classroom anymore. They want to be part of the government. They have to come to State House and wait for 1-2 years for get jobs, because that is the only place and things that they can serve, because that's the only way you get the vote set. Because you get your PhD, you should be in the classroom in the university to teach and do research. If there's money in the university, nobody with a PhD will want to work under a president who can barely read. I'll tell you that for free. We will not even have a situation where we will have a president who can barely read, because political parties do not scrutinize competence, people who understand social policy, people who understand public policy. They try to look for the best war leader, the best ethnic leader, and then they put forward. Not to the best, the competent and well-qualified and well-intelligent and well-sophisticated individual who will run a country, but as somebody we will appeal to the ethnic base. We will be the best ethnic leader. We will say this now we own person. So that is how the idea of Kenya Mui came about. These are all these ideas of exclusion. So you have a group of elite who organize around an ethnic leader, regardless of whether that ethnic leader is competent, and that's how we end up with a leader, with a president who cannot read. So when one way of fixing this problem is to talk about the problem with the wage bill, not just the fact that the wage bill has been escalated to this 3 times or 4 times over than what it was, but also the fact that the salary structure is unjust. You cannot have a grade 8 official in one agency as a political appointee or favored appointee who is earning 4 times more than a grade 10 official in another agency.
So right now, as we talk,
so it's hard.
We get a project. We project something on the screen. We basically now from the Africanist press the website. We say, and this is not the one where you post today. We wanna post today. Lano say you. You say Sierra Leone politicians fixed higher wages for senior army commanders, widening pay disparities in Sierra Leone military. I will take you in a reverse form. Because of this particular post where you begin for compare the salary where top military people in the get to that of the presidential press person, the cameraman, the nutritionist, and the presidential advisors them, and including the judiciary, like the chief justice, the kind way how you go put, for example, the rent allowance, yeah, you compare and say, like, for example, the chief justice, a rent allowance, they pay 22 lieutenants, they pay lieutenant colonel, then they pay about 22 or whatever teachers them, when a secondary school teachers them. This will make the government through the office of the president and ONS, they put a letter where they send where a leak, the letter leak, they send it to IMC for let them find way out for set you mouth. for let them black at you. When you see that particular thing there, you will be surprised. And how una take them as a team?
No, we been no say the government they try very hard for silence the Africanist press because we get evidence say they don't sack people in the public service because they suspect them saying and then they provide information. So the letter in question, now we try to get them out, made the public know because they try to pretend to the public that what we are publishing is frivolous, it's not nothing. Africanist press not important book. They know they make anything way not to corruption. So one way for do that, now for pretend say what would they publish and nothing. But deep within, they are suppressing and marginalizing people then they prevent people and many people that don't know say this bad thing and they happen. So the letter for we we knew what they were doing. We know far more than what in that letter they show. Okay? But that letter now for me, we bring them out to the public, make the public see. Say the government, they, not just corrupt, but also no one make the people and know say them corrupt. And that the government will talk say them care for people and welfare, not care about people and welfare. When welfare issues are raised, they are trying to find ways to shut down people who are reminding them of what they promised to do. Why the question of the army? I think that the most important thing, why perhaps the reference is being made to the army and the teachers and healthcare workers. Now these are the essential sectors of the workforce. You cannot talk about development without security. You cannot, if you're a politician and they talk, say, we will do this tomorrow, we'll do this tomorrow, it's because there is security in the country. The people who provide that security have to be taken care of. They are citizens. Not because they decide to join the army or the police or whatever. We can talk about whether they are working right or not, but the fact of the matter, when somebody signs up for public service, that individual must be treated right, must be treated fairly. So we own position that if politicians know how to create a better salary for somebody, for the cameraman of the president, whose business is just to take photographs of the president, where the president, they sign paper, he take small video and small, so we post them out. When the president, they greet, somebody can greet the president, they take picture. Then they pay that person, they 4 times or 7 times past the colonel of an army. Then if you notice something is wrong in that country, that injustice has to be addressed, because if you don't address it now, it's a recipe for problem. So one way for avoid that problem, for sure, say this problem exists, so that the problem can be resolved. I mean, we have no other country other than Sierra Leone. As a Sierra Leonean, that's how I think about it. And part of my responsibility as a citizen, now for help government for identify what is potentially a problem that can wreck the stability or the peace and tranquility of the country and its progress. And one of that is basically the question of the unfair employment conditions that people who work in the public service are subjected to, including, in this case, the security people. Okay, so when we draw the mind of the government, say, do you not address the salary issue, it's affecting everybody. One way of illustrating is the security sector and the teachers, because these are fundamental components of we national effort for progress. The sectors in this way we not go avoid. You know, we avoid teacher, you know, we avoid soldier man because they provide security for the president, even the president. The president again is speaking and they must go school. And he talks, he get flagship program for higher quality education, whatever that means. So bringing that as an example, now for illustrate the problem, but the problem exists within the civil service. You don't even need the army or the police for show that one day. So people should not be alarmed by the fact that we use the condition of the army, the condition of the prison service, the condition of the teachers and healthcare workers for highlight. There is no way you will have a country without a good health sector. There is no way you will have a country without a good education. There is no way you will have a country without a secured environment. There is no way you will have economic progress if all of these 3 components were mentioned absent. So what is wrong in showing that we are just doing lip service by talking about development when the pillars of development are not addressed? So now that one day, I think, the hard fact. The government reacted to that because they know, say, it exposes them. It exposes their lack of honesty, their lack of commitment, their lack of sincerity to the people of Sierra Leone, and their lack of taking the issues that matter to Sierra Leoneans very serious. What is wrong in saying pay your soldiers well, pay your teachers well, If you can make salaries for your own cameraman, good salary for your cameraman, for your spokespeople, for your own staff, for yourself.
And
why can't
the
you do it for
cameraman,
people
if
who
the
are securing
cameraman they
you?
get that kind of salary, they lieutenant colonel they get 3,400,000 and something thousand.
Yeah. So if you give down the 21,000, it means you know how to fix this problem, because otherwise if you don't pay you the same amount of money where they pay teacher. But if you take and say you deserve 20 times more than what the teacher they get, you 1 month salary they pay the teacher for 2 years. Because we take 21 million, teacher in salary 1 million at 12 million a year. Okay, 21 million. So one person no more in 1 month salary. We are the lowest paid political appointee, really, in the real sense of the word. That 20-something million are the lowest, one of the lowest salary where they don't develop for themselves as political appointees. Where you take the teacher in 2 years salary, then one person 1 month salary, able with good conscience. Leadership calls for good conscience. Leadership, part of the character of a good leader is someone with a good conscience. You have to have the conscience of the nation at heart. The conscience for understand that the lives and well-being of the entire country is dependent upon your wisdom and your magnanimity as a leader. That's what distinguishes a leader from the rest of the population. That you for be magnanimous, no matter, you're not going to elect somebody, but you therefore extend the resources of the country, the collective wealth of everybody, for get access to that. You cannot make that collective wealth the personal property of yourself, your family members, and your chosen people. That is not leadership. That's a recipe for crisis. So that we try for is about appealing to the conscience of leadership, for develop a humane character of governance, for be humane in itself. There's nothing wrong with it. So that's not the essence of the question of salaries. So the benefit of addressing salaries is immense. Not just about the productivity.
Wetin are the problem where the term where it been there as opposition is a bit the problem and a profile solution to some of them problem in there. Because this salary disparity, if we don't talk about it in the manifesto. Other things, them corruption fighting, how for let everybody equal before the law. If we don't talk about them. But as soon as it don't then at the seat of power, all of that now the contrary. Why? Waiting now to find out. Before ever we come begin take people and call we are waiting the same.
Dishonesty is simple. It's dishonesty and lack of good conscience. We don't talk about that because when you take power and decide that your access to power, you get a hegemonic agenda. You decide, say, the paraphernalia of the state, the idea of being in office is an opportunity to revenge, is an opportunity to exert hegemony for say, we don't hold power. So 50 years, now we don't dare, we will destroy the opponents there. We go for smear them. We go for call them, say they're all native man them. I mean, that is not the essence of governance. The essence of governance is a collective progress of a country. There's nothing you lose in accommodation. Democracy is concession. You have to appease people. You have to give certain concessions. It's about dialogue. It's about constant engagement, accommodation, concession. That is the approach to governance. It's the way they say Kumra business. This is why they talk about you are the papa of the nation, not because you are older, or that you are the mama of the nation. It's not because you are older. It's just because that is the attribute that you should have as a leader, to embrace everyone, regardless of whether you like them or not, because the country and what is in it has been given to you for that period. It's about power being not rent you with the opportunity for show yourself, show your character. But these people, when they have been given that opportunity, they turned out to be people who are divisive. You see, the president has the courage to tell the country, I know they appoint anybody or work with anybody who are not sabi. And they ask, what is your relationship with your former president? They say, he's not my friend. If I've been good there, I go grip and just know. Why would you even think of that? I mean, power is not a fight. I mean, governance is not a war game. It's about managing the lives of a country and a people, creating the pillars for national progress. It's about history, so people can remember you for the good things that you've done to move your society forward. Yeah. It's not about how much destruction you've caused with the power that you have. And unfortunately, that is the kind of a group that we have. A group of gangsters in power, a group that thinks that the only way to govern is by striking terror and fear in the minds of people and stealing resources. And that in itself is, people got to resist that, because the country is not the private property of anyone. Nobody's citizenship is more better than on any other individual. We all, not with choice, we are born in that country and we carry the citizenship of that country. And we're not going to sit down and allow, a collective, one small handful of individuals for things that will hold everybody hostage and create destruction that we cannot repair in 10, 20, 30 years' time. We have to take a position against that. And for me, that is what determines my commitment to the issues that I keep raising across governments and across regimes.
Okay. In the area of this publication, we received this letter from the Office of National Security, where now ONS, something beats me imagination, because we don't find out, say, so many institutions where they look up to, say, now they for stand for this country, for make we will get peace and stability, they all don't turn politicians as we talk right now. Wetin them for do for secure we as citizens in the country, they don't fail for do that one day. Now they do things them just for back up this government. Wetin that one day mean? Okay, she don't have to talk, say, this government that thinks them or the issues them where they're supposed for attack, for amend and the constraints of the citizens them, they don't forget about all them things there. Now, una as Africanist press, una just they give publications them where they try to educate people them in the country. Because some of them things here, people be the strain for understand about them. Because back in the days, even radio, they see somebody old radio, so they talk one big English with people in our village, and they're like, yeah, they don't talk to the English, they understand. But now they try to do this kind of thing for put them, we say the andulam, we put them in that low Creole level so everybody they understand. We they see videos them, Chernoh, we they see videos them, who say SLPP members them, they talk about bringing war at the country, then they talk about go kill people them. We know they see the IG or the ONS pull any press release against them people here because they come up from the SLPP. But what is so concerned the ONS now for write this kind of letter to Africanist press?
Yeah, the ONS by themselves, I don't mean the senior ranking people where they get more pays when are beneficiaries of the system. But the ONS not just grab and write a letter. The ONS, we must underline, is under the office of the president. The letter in itself, where you look at, it carried the letter, Government of Sierra Leone, Office of the President, written by ONS. So the ONS letter not just comes. So several meetings were held involving the president, all the leading people in the government, the vice president, internal affairs minister, before then, discussing what we go do now. We don't sack people there inside this government here. We don't fix our people then. We're in opposition people. We don't sack the Auditor General. We don't sack Deputy Auditor General. Still them people here, they publish this thing no more. What do you do? It's when I write by IMC, make we see, ask them for stop. So basically, the ONS acted on the instruction of the president. They acted on the instruction of is a collective decision of the key leaders in the government for say, we not them for prevent the circulation of this kind of information because I don't want the people for know how government function. In their own thinking, government for be a secret society affair. It will be like Ibale. Now, the one way they inside no more, the key people and no more for know what in they go inside the Ibale. You will know the inside, you know, for no. And the Africanist press, they commit an offense in their own thinking because we try for show the public what in the happen inside this corrupt Ibale where they don't develop for themselves, secret society bush. So, but yeah, you're right for underline the fact say there is some sense of impunity. We don't characterize the culture of governance now today. And that come out directly from the president. It come out from the president in the sense that, remember, when the presidential guard force go to prison and kill prisoners, and do that. The president made no statement. The first statement we made, he called the opposition terrorist. Then in all the stuff, they say his government is going to hit and hit harder. This was after chain of events where police people and the presidential guard have killed citizens in the country.
Exactly.
Both in Tombo and Lonsar and other places. And all of these people were raided up to now. Then they are read a message and say, I don't know whether it is on the 27th or somewhere towards the end of this month, they expected some of those people arrested in Lonsar and Tombo. They are still in prison. Some of them have never gone through trial. And imagine 2 years they go, so they've been detained in police cells. We don't know, some even have died in these prison cells. You get a Human Rights Commission that does not talk about it, because all of the Human Rights Commissioners are SLPP members, not even supporters who card-carrying members of the party. Partisan heads of institutions, state capture. But the state capture is one aspect, but the idea that people can commit atrocities and get away with it because it comes from the endorsement of the presidency, where you are not worried about the killing of people in Makeni over a generator. The next day, you and your wife will be seen riding a motorcycle. So then it becomes ingrained into party militants, party members that...
Well, I think you mistaken, not all the next day, the very day.
Yeah, the very day. So you see, so you find out, say, the president sanction and approve violence by your own action and condone and take them, say, then get right for doing. You see? So I even understand yesterday there was an incident at the lodge where two military members of the presidential security now, the lodge, where they argued and they even fought and stabbed each other because one of them appeared to say that nothing say the government will get, the party will get a second term because of the way the country they go. So in company vex. He said enough for talk that statement. So they ended up fighting. So you have that. So you see the level of violence where people think they can take the law into their own hands because somebody has said to them something that is not in the interest of power. So you get these videos coming from State House, people where they identify themselves as SLPP soldier team, SLPP youth leaders, sending war messages, SLPP resident minister. Don't say they will kill people on site. They will fire and kill. They don't care if somebody decides for protest against government. So this state violence is sanctioned by the presidency. The presidents pretend for suspend them and then reinstate them with no punitive measures, no action, no inquiry, nothing. So we find out that the violence they come straight from the president. The president just took office and no procedure has been organized. He went around the country and all over the world calling his opponents thieves and terrorists. Who does that kind of
even inside parliament?
So you see, so we should not be surprised that things have gotten to where they are.
Okay.
Now we get to understand the question for we: what are we going to do, or what are we supposed to do as citizens? We're concerned about the stability of the country and the decency that we should have as a country. National decency. National decency calls for the fact that we have to take a stand on some of these against these issues, and a meaningful stand. And
Waiting at a meaningful stand.
Part of what you guys have been doing is part of it. For the vote on a time for open up an alternative
but you get
platform.
People, you get government people, you get supporters. Then we just say this na social media thing. You not get any impact on the ground.
No. Yeah, that's if you're not been getting impact, the government for the whole meeting for talk say how for stop. You're thinking about Africanist, but if they are thinking about how to shut down everybody, where they carry out an alternative conversation. So next time, then they will be having conversation how for shut down how for shut down other platforms like Sarah Gem and other places. In fact, now you they on air, you even find out they will be fighting hard to bring down, to create technological difficulties for the broadcast by spamming your group, your platforms. They try to do that.
Of course.
So you got to think constantly how to secure even your website, how to secure your Facebook. They try to hack your Facebook, hack your platform, and all of these things. This is part of the effort for silence people. Now, imagine if you are within the boundaries of Sierra Leone. What if it don't happen? If Africanist press been operating as salons, what you will see is somebody just turning up and perhaps bombing a newspaper office or something and say this these people then are so then say now people then just do and so. So they will not even sit in a meeting, but just don't go bundle you, say don't commit mutiny or whatever it is, because you're speaking about increasing the salaries of security personnel, increasing salaries of teachers, increasing salaries of doctors, nurses, and all other civil servants who are marginalized. Some of them are even party supporters. Then this is, when you talk about salaries, it goes across party lines. It's about welfare and well-being of citizens and their progress. So we therefore understand, say, taking a meaningful stand against this hostile environment means that we have to figure out as citizens what we have to do. Increasing the education, political education, increasing awareness of what is the role and responsibility of citizens in a situation like this, including what they do now, mass campaign for tell people and the importance and the significance of the vote and why they can participate and how to participate in the electoral process, including the protection of their vote and proper registration and monitoring of the process as a collective responsibility of citizens right across, both within the country and outside of the country.
Okay. All right, hello, all you there. So you the watch we had, and today we talk to Chernoh of the Africanist press as they talk about different things. And we don't talk about the caretaker bill in speech way as far as in concern. Sorry, because we caretaker not even know how to read. So most people not get interest on that. Yeah, so we don't talk about the salary, the way how salary difference, the wages and salary in this government campaign, the corruption, how this government they protect one set of people against the other one, them and all of those things. And I want jump follow go to call. Before that day, we play one video when one of we own project that one day for help the poor people them. And now one day number two, I want to ask you this question because a question where people ask. Wetin are the update with regards to chance rebuilding in New York?
Yeah, thank you very much. We don't face a situation where we might lose that building because last time when I attended the court proceedings, and I must apologize to people of Sierra Leone that we haven't published an updated article on that. Too much. We'll try for run that publication day. We attended the last proceedings where lawyers representing the contractor, they said they don't pull hand. How now they call it? The case don't big hand. They don't pull hand. They say so. In fact, now then the contractor say no, they touch build one small block safe na the building. These are the contractor where they hire.
Where the government hire.
The lawyer representing the embassy say they don't appeal to Freetown. They try to get money transferred from Freetown again, but the need for seek clearance from the procurement agency, the National Procurement Office in Freetown, so they go give them emergency way for transfer money for make them pay the contractor, make them make the building. So the neighbors were affected, and the judge we are discussing an alternative. They say since this embassy seem to be covered by, then they exploit then diplomatic immunity. So what they will do is to ask the state of New York and the New York Department of Buildings for explore the possibility of demolition. So make them broke the building because the building a hazard and make them broke and candle. So the neighbor the way they go free from the risk. Because you know say the building we talk about townhouses are like a building and an apartment, they join. So the embassy join with the neighbor them. So because he joined and they in a bad state, they can destroy the other people they had them building.
So this building now we get them really or what?
Yes, now the country get them. A building will be known by.
Okay.
A building that is there. What they were saying, they want to do an extension, build 2 more floors and renovate and upgrade the building basically by adding 2 more floors. And don't it in 2019 alone and transfer $4.6 million. 2019, no. So basically, then instead they focus on addressing the problem for the money that they've stolen. Then don't go take the leading opponent, put her in a court for money that they transferred in 2019 that had nothing to do with the APC. And now, as we talk, so they are working on plans to transfer more money to New York, where they never account for the money where they don't transfer for us in 2019, $4.6 million, more than $4.6 million that have been squandered by this administration. So if they don't address that problem, the risk that we face is that it's possible the court, through the New York State, might order the demolition of that building so that the neighbors then, because they have a responsibility to protect American lives. So that was where the conversation is. And we get this back and forth correspondences between the lawyer and now we represent the company. All man don't fed up with the government and say, we don't get case we don't know how to deal with because we don't get an unserious person with them bring serious government with them bring a court. So people as alone, I think for ask the government, may they explain exactly what happened, number one, to the $4.6 million that they transferred in 2019. They have to explain the status of this building. And if they are transferring any money again to New York, they have to tell the people why they're transferring it, to who, and why they're not able to account for the $4.6 million they transferred in 2019.
Okay, so I will ask you this question because I find out, say, this you work where you do, now the reason that they will make the government decide for take Dr. Samuel na court. But in most cases, the government don't they ignore you, say, Wetin they talk na baseless. But in this case, you see the caretaker bill, one for take credit, say, na incessant na the complainant, according to Ben Kelfala. What do you make up of this?
The lie in the lie. The government is deceptive. In the first place, the money that we reported about was money that was transferred in 2019. So how can you hold somebody responsible, somebody who has been out of office in 2018 and who was not part of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 2019? And we showed exactly we said the money come on to China when it came to the account, when the money left the account at Freetown and New York in 2019. In fact, that was the problem, the reason why they had to remove Ali Kaba as ambassador in New York, because this was a problem they were hiding. So we published that. For me, the government no pretense in the act because they have to show that face to the Americans and decide for go hold the opposition and put them in court. Basically, people who have nothing to do with it, people who are responsible are now made witnesses against people who have nothing to do with the money in question. So, but why this thing happened? Because why this level of injustice deals with the question of the fact that we not get an independent judiciary. We not get judges that were independent. You don't see the amount of money they're paying to judges. So as long as we get political appointees whose loyalty is to their salaries and the people who develop salaries for them, the question of injustice will just persist. And this chance rebuilding is one such case of political injustice, where the courts are being used, state institutions, law enforcement agencies are being used as part of the effort for frustrate and stifle the opposition. And unfortunately, in this case, you get a greater sector of the opposition because of their own selfish political aspirations. They support the railroading of their opposition colleagues by the government, because then things say that go amplify their own individual aspirations in their pursuit for power. Okay, so because of their own flag bearer contest within their own parties, they are happy that this is happening because in then one side of elimination of their of intra-party competition. And what it does is that it perpetuates a culture of revenge, because when power changes, the same individuals will think, because you don't suffer me, we must return with that. You go pay for what you don't do to me. So this is how the culture of violence continues. As long as we're not able to get to a situation where our institutions are going to be independent, where governance will function, and people in the public service will be able to function based on their qualifications and their experience, we go end up forget the same kind of problem. The injustices go continue. And one way that the politicians have kept this going is by this question of the wages, where some wages are specially designed for special people because of their positions that are meant to protect bad governments. So it starts with the judiciary, it goes on to other law enforcement agencies, including the Anti-Corruption Commission, the higher commanders of the police, the higher commanders of the army, the higher other election management institutions, Electoral Commission, PPRC, and the rest of it. So this institutionalized violence and injustice, now don't hamburg the country. And the chance rebuilding case is a clear example. An injustice that is perpetrated by the state and also supported by a sector of the opposition leadership, which sees in it an interest for enhance their own individual aspirations for leadership in the country. Sad.
Thank you very much. Continue for day with me inside the program. I want to beg you, like we listen to this clip quick, you not get anything for do with you, but now one of we own project. Well, not a we particularly get them, but we find out say one organization where them called the Tony Center. They take care of old people, them. So we decide for step up, you know. Two we family members then for we help for Billa host the way the one for put up so, and we need about 25 million. We don't get something like 15-16 million already, so we just need a few more millions for able for Billa, because the living condition of certain people them very, very terrible. So please, if you permit me, let's just play this one quick and then we'll come back to you quick. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
This now one of the places them where most of the old people where we can see they beg on the street, especially along Kisi Road. Most of them are this particular place who are they so today now here they reside. But most of them, the places them who side the day when are the shelter, a very day in a bad condition. See this now some of the places look, you know, like a kitchen, where rain can they go wash everything away. Look at the block. Where they touch ourselves, you see, it's something I can. So you see this is another place. When we old people, this person even able to come inside because everything don't be disjointed. See the place? So this old person are in there without a house because he not able to get side for stay. Because look at how the place stay. We again become the last time. Wash everything away, all the place down full with dirty and everything.
You couldn't make me now say, for I got that very good. Look at the foot there. You see, man, swear. And look no more, the thing no pull and another can't choke now, Papa, and I can't say, not to take for shame. When I see outside, know the other room all over, you know, where they don't do a box, I go and back now, and how they choke them, me grand picking, and then me picking the old mama, they really suffer. But when you can't meet me, you don't know, not all myself at the brink, and no get polite, and say for cash, you don't. Leader like me, people like the guy, this is shameless now, now you want to kill me. I tell Miss K, I say Miss K, I know the guy chance, I go begin like saying that this the money, I say, but if you don't help me, Miss K, I say me, I don't disgrace. When I say let them go to chief fair, I tell God to take me to my, then come meet me this hour, they live like so, you know, go fight for me, Mama, do you already help me? For God, I never do that.
So this is the room, up aside, no form safe. Form not there for the down. Please, when I see, aside do not even get a phone for the dom. Aside do the lay down a matter. At the age, now matter the lay down for sleep. It just make the cement and look at the floor, nothing. This now outside aside in picking and they sleep. Aside do not get phone, so the picking and self is the same thing. Then just lay down a job. They not even get matter, and I just like bags them. Now they picking and they lay down.
Me have been driver 20 years and I drive now, so I sit down. I do kill I go make a big out for it.
Okay, this is the
veranda. Yes, I cover this toilet because the toilet and the two window the veranda. This is the thing. This change in the morning. Yes,
grass mattress.
I left in that place. Me three about them don't die. They left two pikin. The one not reach for woman business. The one about the second one, you're picking that the 2 months. The other one 2 months. This even the grip in Papa die. And the little rapper in Papa die. Now suffer no more. They buy even for food. They for take care of the chance no day. At times I go for small picking there. They give you something for me. They can eat to me. God what they serve. Where is that they tell you so it's not easy for me.
This again another place where it really they're in a bad condition when our aged also stay inside this particular place. So we kindly calling on every Sierra Leoneans. You were there into construction. You get shop where they sell building materials. We they appeal to everybody for come on board. Let we do something for the old people here. So because at this stage now we don't need. So please, nothing is small. You get cement, you get zinc, you get whatever. Therefore do towards this them building there. So logo make them good. We even need mattresses then because you see some of them they outside they sleep. So one of them they don't matter at that age, old person at that age. you know, get a phone for lidom. They don't have the matter for lidom, even a picking them all where they look up to them because as an elderly person, and able for go again go fair unless they go on streets or go bigger. But with all the bigger, then they do go bigger. Then able for make them place decent. So they kindly ask on people. I know we have arts people, we they call on the churches them, we they call on the mosques, we they call on institutions them, we they call on individuals them in and out of salon. Let we do something for them with people there, so we hold people them. Remember, say we said before reach their age, and old age now something we can always say old is age, but this kind of old age is very sad for them, where they never forget better side for them with all the contribution they don't make in society. At this age now they need to support them because the rains not if again. Very soon rains will come. We see few days ago we see every winds they blow, you know, where the show say this year we likely forget more rains than previous years. So please let old people them not go there. We wake one morning, we read and say thousands of them we don't lost them because of every downfall. So please come on board and support me. Let we forgive back to the old people there. So.
Okay, this now DOFA. By the way, let me make a disclaimer. DOFA not a political body. DOFA no link to APC nor SLPP. We choose for help them in propagating the message because we feel say that they do a very good job for help, especially the poor people them. Because remember, you don't spend your life for the rest of your life inside the country, then at the end of the day you die back like pauper, a very, very bad. And we all pray for we reach to this stage. We know we want tomorrow, we reach to this stage, we're not able to get the foundation. So that is why we decide for help. So we say, okay, through we family members them, let we join DOFA and raise for this particular woman will be the cry just now, and for let them go able for build in house back. Let them make in house look fine and you know, able for live there like mortal man. They need about 25 million leons. Good way. Inside the last 3 days, then for yesterday and today, we not able for raise close to 16 million leons. Yeah, where we don't able for raise from good people where they give leons, dollars, pounds, euro, whatever. We don't able for reach 16 million leon. If you're not in past right now, safe. But like we always do, we give una updates about how the money they can and all. So we don't give tell people over there and don't they give the money. So one for use this opportunity again for tell plenty thank you. We don't call the names the one, but today just says plenty thank you to una all. We don't support this particular project. Not to this also no more plenty other one and day, but for start, this now we first support all the support. So we want for build this particular one through on your help. So please, if you want, the number then at the screen already. You can check them on Orange and Afri Money. Or if you want, you can call them 2 number there. So normal or WhatsApp call. You will able for talk to Doreen Barry. Or if you want to do MoneyGram and Rare transfer, Remit transfer, whatever transfer you want to do, you can do them and send them to the person we name Doreen Barry. So you can call the number them and ask them, let it show you how to spell because we don't get time for writing right now. Let it spell a name for you because if you mistake in terms of transaction, you're not able to get the money. So please, una help we for let we support them. Then at the same time, we get we cash app, but unfortunately today I'm not sure say we go able to project the cash app number, or if not, yes, sister admin, please put the cash app number for we quick. Okay, we don't get 17 million. Yes, now we don't get 17 million. I just see updates to come up. We don't get 17 million, not 16, 17 million. So we need like how many more for go? 8 million more for go. If we get more than that one day, we can start the other people like you. But this one, you look critical. That is why we want for help them to go. Please flag up for me the cash app number so we go able for put up quick here. Na the 2 platform them. So please wanna help we. And we get about 632 when you watch our YouTube and 330 when you watch our Facebook. Thank you very much, guys. Please, una share the program, like, and please, una don't forget to like bigger bad, but with the bigger for good cause. This nothing where you yourself not going for each too. So help somebody today, and God will make the provision for you tomorrow. We love una all. Thank you very much. I think we don't reach to the point where we want for call, make a comment. But before that, we get a guest. I don't know if you want to say something on this particular thing we'll play. So just now. Chernoh?
Yes, definitely. We said we support the appeal, and I would like to talk to now after the show that we said we make our own contribution to the we think it's a what it calls and make a press contribution to it without announcing it publicly.
Voila, 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 voila. Thank
Thank
you, thank
you,
you,
thank
thank you
you,
very,
thank
very,
you, my
very much.
brother.
Now tell this again to the public. This money, not to we it out, we need say 50 millions. That is why yesterday we hold a special program and host Dorian. We want for be as transparent as possible for this particular project. So please, on our fear, Oda Sabi, we no say we can always deliver when we decide for help certain people, yeah? But waiting we not elect no more. We know they manufacture money and we know they always like for suppress people them. So when we get money, we want to make sure say we do them the best. And one thing about doing, it don't promise we serious one say it not go shame we at all. So we appreciate that. By the way, before we open the phone line, we want to say anything before we project the number.
Well, I think for make we give we family members them now chance for make themselves can talk to we brother. Just small one because we not go able to spend more time with several family members. Them if no more we left and give them, they not go want for make Chernoh grab Naya today. So because of that, we can open the phone line. We manage for give everybody one minute for talk to Chernoh and ask them quick as you call. Just go straight to the point. Forget about any other talk in with the talk later. Maybe tomorrow blow mind. We own normal talk, then we can talk tomorrow blow mind. But for this night, now one minute we dey give any family member just call and hit the nail. Chernoh there for answer you on the angle where you dey try for come from. So for now, we dey open the phone line for Una for make Una self get a chance for talk to the Carafilo of Sierra Leone where in don't stand tiggy one. For expose the Yuki and Dabaru, as you say, not begin it, but this if you begin up, some of who they want away. Anyway, we go to the phone line.
Okay, so I don't paste the Cash App number now both YouTube and Facebook. So please, if you want for reach on to it, just feel free. When you send your Cash App, we get them, or we get every details, and then we come back now so and talk about them. All right, so we go now on the line and take. By the way, all the information holding at the screen so about Doyin and Doffa. So we pull them now and go to calls them. Now take the very first call on the line. Welcome to the show. Your name and who said the call from. Please, you get 1 minute for talk to me. It is the volume of his.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. You get 1 minute, please. Your name and who said the call from.
Yeah, my name is Nalamin. I just want to tell Chernoh thank you. So my question to Chernoh is, now they say consortium, we don't hopefully and go graduate to a collision. So if the way go be national stuff, so if in case the coalition win governance, if they call Chernoh, is it gonna be available for serve as an ACC boss? So that's the question.
Okay, thank you.
I like that.
All right, we go on the line again and take another call. Welcome to the show. Your name and the call from. Please get 1 minute.
It's not Mike from Philadelphia. I just want to ask you. Then people get any reason why they not release the new currency yet? You know what I mean? From the bank governor itself, because they don't already destroy the economy. We just wait no one out for let them finish everything with this new currency.
Okay, so now the question and we will Chernoh talk about.
Right.
Thank you. All right, we go on the line. I like the point. Straight to the point. No beat around the bush. Welcome to the show. Your name and who said the call from. Please, you get 1 minute.
Yes, brother. Una good evening. Una good morning. This John Samura. They come from Spain.
Yes, John. Thank you.
First of all, yeah, brother. First of all, I want to tell plenty thank you to my brother, Mr. Ba. You do a fantastic job, brother. You know, we thank you very, very much for all these revelations we give. And also, at the talk to with the Sierra Leoneans, them the work way Doffa they do a very good job. So dear, we help because now we no more get for help. So now my question to Brother Ba is as an Africanist, right? Because we don't suffer we the black people in general, because within the happen so Sierra Leone, more or less now we own negligence and cause that. So, Mr. Ba, waiting you will propose say with the Sierra Leoneans them we will do follow we will recover back we economy and how we will fix up this mess, brother. I want you talk to me from the Pan-Africanistic point of view and getting in mind the African Agenda 2063. We will still continue to maintain this kind of governance where they go on so or which it really will for do.
Thank you
Thank you very
much. All right, the calls them still coming. So we see we get another call. Welcome to the show, please. Your name and inside the call from, please. You get 1 minute. Please, do not make sure so that they reduce the volume of the set phone that they watch you from. You get 1 minute, please. The counter don't begin.
Hello, Yaduna. Good morning, good evening.
How are you, sir? Please, you get 1 minute. We'll listen to you. Who's the call from, please?
Okay. I tell you plenty thank you. Because now I make them think that they happen. Then secondly, Mr. Bale, God bless them for this good job where they do. We really appreciate them. And we hope say it not go stop, it will continue waiting it they do. Waiting the question when we want to ask this next, waiting at the next step. Because who say with government they go, it really bad.
Okay. Thank you very much. You go answer to your question. We go on the line again and take another call. Welcome to the show. Your name and inside the call from, please. You get 1 minute.
Yeah, this Abdullah from Freetown.
Okay, please. You get 1 minute. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to tell Mr. Plenty thank you for the kind job we do. And this, it don't really help it don't really rescue we from the kind misleading governance that we don't get for the past years now.
Yeah.
And the other thing I just want comment on, the government actually they insult with intelligence. Now I make most of the time the way they get in their radio stations if them talk about like the economy way is very bad in the country, the only reason or the only answer we they give to them now how they don't win MCC and all other things, whether they don't meet international benchmark. So they know they give answers the way, for example, for say, okay, the people are now then they buy rice 200 or then they buy rice 100,000. Or the people are not then they eat fine, or the people are not then they suffer. Instead, then they tell you what international they're not they consider we. So we really tell Chernoh Plenty thank you because he don't really tell we what thing we supposed to do as a citizen, how we supposed to think as a citizen. Law will know all this for we consider
much.
people.
Very sorry about that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, please. Your name and inside the call from. You get 1 minute.
Hello, Mina, Bai, I call from Germany.
Please go ahead. Give 1 minute.
Okay then. I just want to be straightforward now. So, we don't see previous government and present government they appoint commissioners them, and most of them are lawyers them like appoint. So that was a time where I sit down and think of whether if any other government will come and appoint Chernoh as a commissioner, probably until we go will get a better country. That's my opinion, because like if you say type job where it do, it go better for me to get somebody when not to lawyer. At least we get somebody when a journalist. Now thank you very much.
Thank you, God bless you. All right, the line's still open. You can call and add your voice inside the program. Whilst we okay, don't come inside. We want wait. I want to see if we wait. But we go again on the line and take another call. Welcome to the show. Your name and inside the call from, please. You get 1 minute. You're live on the show, please. Your name and inside the call from, please.
Hello, my name na Black Man.
Okay, Black Man, welcome. You get 1 minute to say the call from, please.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right, this now regulation number 1 where you don't broke. Please, when you call, make sure say you reduce the volume of your set, as then they will prevent you from letting you know they get feedback. Where will disturb you yourself. Welcome to the show. Your name and also the call from. Please, you get 1 minute.
Yes, good morning. We are
Yes, how are you?
please I recall. Yeah, I recall from where.
Okay.
Yeah, the ultimate see no more. I ask somebody that can express. Tell them about it. Tell and thank you for a good work they do. Really, but I really want to ask if we go the if part of this government, if any government to go can have power now, and then get some appointees, then not appoint them to governments or like them and anti-corruption head, some big man, and then the head of the police, head of the army, and then judge them. Because most of them, something now the president appoints them. So now I make the behave so. If you be say in a come from their side and they, so I don't believe say it will be so. So I want to ask if that go possible.
All right, thank you very much. We will listen to you and we go answer to you later. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we the wait for call or we go. In the absence of more call for now, let we go over to you, Chernoh, and maybe you want to react to some of the things that we don't come up quick. Any call we can wait later. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Make I just address this question of appointment, ACC. Already satisfied with the contribution. You're not going for the part of government number to contribute to your country. You can contribute to your country even from the comfort of your dining table. But left with me, I don't think we need what we call an anti-corruption commission, ACC. I believe, say, if we get a situation where the Accountant General's Department is empowered, is structured and well organized, because the accountant, you cannot write a government check where you find out, say, follow the procedure. If you have an effective Accountant General's Department, independent, then you get an independent audit service. Effective and independent audit service. You get a very independent national public procurement agency and also a national authorizing office. If they were independent, an independent central bank, independent, a very effective central bank governor, you don't need an anti-corruption commission. All what you need then is the oversight of parliament to make sure that these things are happening. But then institutions don't do for make sure, say, systems and procedures are followed that will ensure leakages do not happen, waste in public spending not happen, double dipping not take place. I mean, and they solve this idea of stealing of public wealth, but all of this corruption is taking place simply because the Accountant General's Department is part of the problem. The audit service is not allowed to carry out its independent function of checking and, making sure that, carry out effective audit, a holistic audit of government, and audit recommendations are implemented. So where we have an effective Accountant General's Department and an effective audit service that's respected and independent, and a public procurement agency that's also independent and effective, they will make sure, say, bad procurement proceed. They don't use procurement for thieves. They don't use, all of these disbursements where they talk about cash withdrawals and all of these things that will happen. The bank governor, but when you have a bank governor that thinks of himself as a teller, you say, as long as I bring check from the Accountant General's Department, I will just cash them and not care. That is where people will have a situation where you have this Musa Jajua and Mohamed S. Bayogo just to take back, go inside the central bank and they collect money, like say, na competition, they try for the they pull more cash than company on the authorization of the president. So if you have an Accountant General's Department, the office of the Secretary to the President will not just tell the Accountant General, hey, President want money for travel. Oh. He say, okay, yeah, you write letter, say, bank governor will transfer money. Once you have these institutions effective and independently running, you need no anti-corruption commission. What you will need is an effective law enforcement agency, an independent judiciary, and a police department that will investigate and arrest and charge people for financial crimes and they stand trial in court for stealing or fraud or any kind of food theft. And then the business of the parliament the parliament, the accountability committee, and the public accounts committees in parliament will be to carry out oversight and make sure these institutions are working. Recommendations from the audit service and audit report are discussed, and recommendations are followed on and implemented. The money that we're spending in running so-called anti-corruption agencies can be used to build hospitals and take care of health infrastructure or provide electricity. It's a waste of public money to have an anti-corruption commission because it becomes a tool in the hands of politicians for marginalized opposition. Okay. That's what we've had now.
All right. So we'll take more
if you ask me, we don't need an ACC. Don't look for appointing me as an ACC. Look for a situation where these transparency institutions are made to function independent and effective. And we have no business having a commissioner that is tasked with the responsibility of running after corrupt people.
All right. Let's go for more calls. Welcome to the show. Your name and the call from, please. You get 1 minute.
Yeah, hi. Good evening. Chernoh, thank you. I'm a concerned citizen first caller. I just want to ask Chernoh, yeah? It will reach to the point where maybe it will begin to expose for we as well, the opposition members them, where they take you what they do under the government, where then they pay just for them know they do something for the people of Sierra Leone, like we parliamentarians them so. As they know most of them they know they do what they're supposed to do, then they're so powerless. But we think say they get much power. Yeah, it could come to the point where we go begin expose them for we don't know them, so that we go try for get rid of them out of the space system. That's not my just want to ask. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. We go to another call. Welcome to the show. Your name is reduce the volume of the set, please. Reduce the volume. Thank you for go for yourself. Go on the call, please. Now make sure now reduce the volume of the set, because if you not do it, unbug you and they listen, they not go hear you. Find yourself go the torments because you go to hear yourself after when you don't talk, and that they make you repeat yourself again. We go on the line again and take another call. Welcome to the show. Your name is the call from, please. You get 1 minute.
Hello, my name is Usman. They call from Turkey. How you doing?
Praise God.
Mr. Chernoh, thank you. Mr. Chernoh, thank you very much. We are now thank you. We therefore ask Mr. Chernoh, like, how in global at the same time we interview the international organization that we do projects in Sierra Leone, because you see mostly government they say UN and they build this and this, but like when they will get some their own perception, no back they know from there the project, how the project they run, how the line can happen, the formation of the project, everything they do, every single thing. But with the knowledge and with the influence and with the culture they do, because they will look for the interview there, international institution there, for like the give information, exact information that we need. So like I'm back they will use that there as well for the interview the institution there, for like the interview there for the no what we need for no. From them back from their own perception. So that no matter works.
Okay, thank you very much.
Alright.
Alright, let's see if we get a few more calls. If not, we go to Chernoh for responding again to the calls there. We don't come inside. In 2 seconds. 1, 2, Chernoh, we go.
Yes. On the question of request for looking to activities of opposition politicians, definitely, I think that are very important request that we supposed to consider and need for consider. And thank you very much for bringing my attention to that. I'll definitely go on and by your own team and see what effectively has to be done in looking at the relationship between the opposition and the ruling party, as we talk about the lack of effectiveness of opposition politicians for hold the government accountable. Me strongly believe we need to interrogate we MPs, we need to interrogate political party leaders we want to represent the people or replace government in terms of where do they stand on these questions of corruption, whether they are part of it or not. And thank you, I don't take notes on that. The other question regarding international engagement, definitely we all want to make the international community engage Salone. We no go call for, it's not our intention for make Salone be isolated, because we country need whatever support, including for put pressure on the government for respect human rights, for respect the principles of good governance, and for make sure say when they interact with another country, that country understands a part of the interaction get for do with their respect to these common principles of universal human rights and universal principles of decency and governance. We will get for encourage. Yeah, there are many things that we do on the sidelines as citizens, as citizens of Sierra Leone, and we therefore continue to do that, including talking to friends, talking to allies, talking to organizations that are friends of Sierra Leone or that have an interest in Sierra Leone for also not abandon the fact that therefore assist with for hold the government accountable, hold the government, make them become more responsible. But at the same time, also for extend resources. If they give money to Salone, to Madabio, they are giving it to Sierra Leone. Anybody where they get the opportunity for interact with the international community, the UN, the EU, the USAID, World Bank, and all of these organizations, they can get to a point where they feel, no, we got to withhold funding for now, because no one this money will give them why I made a use for elections or not. But they will always engage a country. They will always work with whoever is there, because and we got to understand, again, international relations, both parties will interact, get their own interest for pursue. So we not feel offended that we see some kind of support going to Sierra Leone. It should be, and we encourage that to happen, because otherwise people will go suffer more than the way they suffer right now. So I have no problem with increased international support for Sierra Leone. The only thing where I go encourage people for do, now for talk to people who are involved with the government of Sierra Leone, for understand that they have a responsibility of impressing upon the government the need for respect citizens and respect and protect citizens, their lives, their property, and also the stability of the country is crucial.
Okay. Let me see if we can get more calls. Let me go on the line. Please, I want for tell us when at the call. If Chernoh they talk, please loan patience, because I know say you go to think so they select call. We know they do, yeah. Yeah, now we add and we take anybody in call. You get 1 minute for talk, please. Your name and who say the call from, please. You dey live.
Yeah, hello. Me and David A. I call from Germany. Please, yes. First of all, I want to say thank you very much to Mr. Barr, and I really appreciate the time for spend here with we as well. So very quickly, Mr. Barr. First of all, I really want to ask Wetin are your qualification, and of course, I also want to know from who exactly the Africanist press you operate from now. And for you, particularly as a Sierra Leone and as a concerned citizen as well, who say exactly yourself there now, whether you're there in hiding or for security reason, if possible for that we know who say exactly you operate from now. And again, hello?
We dey live, you get a few more seconds.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, and again, I want to know how corrupt you feel say the anti-corruption and Salone corrupt really. How corrupt it corrupt.
Thank you very
much. And of course,
you don't exceed the
all right, sir. All right, thank you.
We go on the line again and take another call. Welcome to the show. Please.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, please use the volume if you set.
Yeah, at the end, I big myself want to make a contribution.
You 1 minute already, you don't begin count. Hello?
Well, somebody they make
no,
yeah, somebody they make
please reduce the volume of your set. That is why you dey live, but you feel say pause in the talk. Welcome to the show. You get 1 minute, please.
Hello?
Yes, you dey live. You get 1 minute.
Oh, hi. Oh, yes. Hi, Mr. Ba. This is Amina's sister admin. I just want to say thank you so much for everything what you did do for we, the Sierra Leoneans, them, for exposing this government. I just got one question for you. You think it's impossible for make the Sierra Leone government, the present government right now, this corrupt SLPP government, for make them able to shut you down? Because if that's the case, we want for being at the streets of Washington, D.C. for protest for you, just like how we did protest for we mayor. This coming Thursday, the 26th of May, in the morning, we all get for meet up then at the Embassy of Sierra Leone, which is, I believe, is on 16th Street in DC. So please, I want to know, because we are ready to mobilize and team up and do the same for you too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so go on the line again and take another call. Welcome to the show. Oh, this one don't freeze. Last up and come back. Okay, let's see. Okay. One call they come inside. Okay, All right. Okay, don't come. Now we go. Yes. Reduce the volume of your set and listen to
yeah, I've been on this now, but una cut me off.
Because you know, my
own contribution is this. Really, I want for me to begin on. The sensitization for make we get another presidential debate come 2023, because that's also serves now a very good thing, and then for continue for sensitize the people in terms of registration and some other things them we go benefit we all. So now my own contribution that, because a lot of things and the way they go on where we know say the need for unfold, but since nothing they happen as such, we the people that they ask for let una continue for sensitize the people, and then for make una begin draw the idea forward for make we get a presidential debate. Now that's our fault. Now that's my own contribution. But thank you very much.
Please, when you call, make sure say you listen to we reduce the volume and just listen like I did make a call. Yeah, so we go able to understand yourself. Mr. Balebo.
Yes, I think somebody want to know my qualifications. Well, I go school in Salon. Go from a college and there I do my bachelor's degree. Then from there, right now as I talk to you, myself na a doctoral candidate na Northwestern University. So I get apart from that, I hold a master's degree in medical history. Then at the same time, I complete my PhD now. Almost for not even round up my dissertation, but I get one more year of funding. So the rest now, while I do my work as a journalist on the sideline, I am also working as a research student in a university in America, Northwestern University. You can check them out. So basically, by next year, I could complete my PhD. And I also assist for teach at the university who's are there. So that my qualifications that I hold a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and I complete my PhD now. But me now I go to holla me name doctor. Me just they do me university. But apart from that, apart from that, I also hold a couple of other qualifications in journalism. Then I don't work for at least 20 years as a journalist and newspaper person in various parts of the world. And plus any other qualifications. So I don't know if that you mean by qualifications.
All right.
So I mean terminal degree at the complete. So now my last degree, when I the last one where all man defend.
Dominion.
No wait. I hope say you will end that more because we know say caretaker bio himself will be the calm. It tell you say then a doctor.
I know you they reach to that point. I really know.
No. Me not to matter bio. Me a very good scholar. And what a good school. I go to better school back, better university.
Hey God.
We the rank among the best 10 in America. So no to. Anyway, yes. For the last 5 years, I don't did it permanently to do research at Northwestern University. This is where I've been, and I know they're on my second chapter now. I try for round up with dissertation now.
All right.
So
I'll take more.
So while I write about Salon, I also they do my academic work by the side, which is actually my main thing. My main endeavor that the Africanist press, as you say, will operate. We register under the state of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Please reduce the volume of your set. Reduce the volume of your set.
And
then you hold on, please.
We operate on various
Hello.
as well.
All right,
So I don't know if
go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. And Sengbe Pierre and Bible, I'll say when they get me loud and clear, right?
Clear. Outside the call from, please, and who that is.
Thank you very much. I the call from Salon family. Not forget see me. Now the people's power.
Okay.
And thank you very much. And Chernoh, you did in the studio. And Sengbe Pierre and Bible, I want for tell now plenty. Thank you. And the things them I want for church. The question
think say Mr. Ba, you don't make something clear now so for we undertouch the building. We the 2018 presidential flag bearer, Dr. Samuel Kamara, and according to Wetin we get now the court, now 2 count charge then giam. The one they say it deceived in principle, the second one then say it misappropriates public funds. So now that they tell we now you don't bring documents them, we don't you see yes indeed this man not involved. Say to the witness yesterday, the number 3 witness come to the court and tell the court see Dr. Samuel Kamara was not part of the process. The tender with them, the tender then document here and na cabinet. Dr. Samuel Kamara did on left as Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in 2017.
You got
2017. Yeah, 2017 in November. So and Mr. Ba, Wetin will be the outcome of Dr. Samuel Kamara in this case, in case the court will convict him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, and if we not get a call with the come inside yet, then I think we go over to you again for just reply to that call. Then.
No, in the first place, the case is a there was no need for that case because it's an unfair trial from the beginning. Because the government, if the government is serious about holding people accountable for the Chancery building, now the very government officials the way they appoint, but they know say there is no way $4.6 million will be misappropriated in New York without the knowledge of Madabio and his involvement. So both the foreign minister at the time, the ambassadors that were in charge of the the Chancery are aware of this situation, and the president was aware. So it can say an indictment of any of his officials now a minus to rank as an individual. So what did they decide for doing are just junior ranking diplomats and an opposition politician where things are the main contender. So it's a political trial. So if you ask me whether the trial was not supposed to have taken place in the first place, that the wrong people then put on trial for an offense that they did not commit. This is not, even if there were issues, the money that we talked about, that we reported about, which documentary evidence is available in the bank statements and everything, for over $4.6 million was stolen by officials of the current Madabio regime. And the president knows that, but there is no way somebody will misappropriate $4.6 million in New York or in Freetown without the president knowing. That's why he cannot have a proper trial. So this is what you call an organized witch hunt, an organized effort for disable a major contender. And like I say, unfortunately, there are people in the opposition who are clapping for that because they think it gives them an advantage in their leadership contest in the opposition, especially in the APC. So that is why they are quiet about it. But they know it's a wrong trial. They know it's an unfair trial. It was a trial that was not supposed to have taken place. So the question of justice does not exist in this case. So it's not a question of whether he's going to be convicted or not. The question is he was not supposed to be put on trial based on those issues that we have highlighted. But when you get a situation where law enforcement, the anti-corruption is not independent, the judiciary is not independent, then they work as instruments for enhance the hegemonic agenda of the state, the dictatorial tendency of the state. And in this case, the unfortunate side is that the opposition, politicians who will have taken a position against it, some of them are happy about it because it means somebody who is their opponent within their internal party struggle is being held up in a court trial. So they do not care about justice and the actual working, the rule of law. They care about what advantage that injustice accords them. So I think people who care about the rule of law and justice in the country should be able to look at that case as a problem, a future problem, because now assuming or looking at the possibility of this individual that's subjected to unjust trial becoming president, there's opportunity for revenge, or his supporters will force a revenge. This is how countries got stagnated. That's how we're able to stop a country from progress, because then people begin to find ways to punish people for what they have done to them unfairly. So that idea of retribution, of what we call turn debt. Yeah, we go for carry out we own, we will get power. It becomes a cycle that retards the country.
All right.
And it very unfair and very unjust. But I blame the opposition in this case because they have accepted that they see, some of them see an advantage in what is happening. In fact, some of them advised for that kind of situation to be taken. And that's not the unfortunate side of the country, because people are pursuing their own individual agendas, individual interest, at the expense of the progress of the country, at the expense of everything we should have as values that should characterize a nation or a country as we have it.
Okay, I think you don't serve justice in that. You don't answer like all the calls that we don't come inside. Except if we get few more calls when they come inside. We wait for a few more calls when they come inside, and then we see how best we can able for wrap up the program. With all of them things that also really happen, what do you think say would be the possible way forward? Okay, I think we get a call before we go to that question. We go on the line. Welcome to the show. Your name and who the call from, please.
Yeah, hello. This is now David A again. I want to say thank you very much to Mr. Barr for the qualification answer where you gave to was a question I asked a few minutes ago. But again, the second part of my question was like, how corrupt is the anti-corruption actually, and waiting at the legality for a private citizen for this side for litigate the anti-corruption, if you can able to recommend anything about that. Thank you.
All right, thanks. We go on the line again and take another call. Welcome to the show. Your name and who the call from, please. Now, one time anybody get chance for call. Your name and who the call from, please.
Hello, yes, I'm brother. How are you?
Please, God, are you safe? Who said you call from, please?
I saw you if the voice heavy. I just wake it after 4 a.m. outside now. Though,
I will get you.
I first of all want tell the guest very, very thank you, because not only a patriot they do them here in our country. And the question I was asking, where then people are they don't send a bench warrant for us, so because that's what the thing look like, yeah. If them fail, waiting on your next action, it will take them people here in a court, because we not only want one is sue them people here in a court. Because Lara fail, and Sierra Leone court can't do anything, because then they under the then shoot them, because I can't say them. Then they inside them pocket them, and as well again, I beg each and everybody. This one, the time don't pass for the law. We go against them people like because just a small loophole, and they look for me they do. May they execute them program them for form the overthrow and come back now power say they overthrow the law just all peace. Now we they say law come out in numbers and say law, but it's too late.
Thank you.
Thanks very much to Mr. Bar. Yeah.
All right, we take another call. Welcome to the show. You know the call from, please. You get 1 minute.
Yeah. The call from we had at the Freetown.
Please go ahead. You get 1
they
minute.
tell me all thank you. Yeah. And the name and mommy had the call from Freetown, Sierra Leone.
Yep.
Yeah, Bible Singapore, they tell me thank you and Mr. Bali, God bless him.
Okay,
God bless you all. Let God make what Mr. Bali do, so let God continue for guide you all and una. Yeah? Like this problem where they happen now, we didn't have the scene. Now we know what to go on. If Mr. Bar and una no be there, so my fool like no not what to go on. And this man, we're not so glad for that. So like let God bless you now. Another no much talking because
Thank
of
you.
time. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we take 3 more calls. If we come inside, 3 more calls for end the program for today. And then we go over to Chernoh for we wrap up the program. 3 more calls. You get time for call now. If not, when Chernoh begin for talk, we're able for talk again. And we switch off the line because we go on for pay attention now to waiting Chernoh they end up with, because we want for know waiting next for the Africanist press. So you get few more. You get just 1 minute for call. 3 more calls now to wait for. 3 more calls. In the absence of that, I think we go now to Chernoh, and then I think we could just close the line, and then we get the roundup from Chernoh. 3 more calls in 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You watch it fast too.
5. Now seconds. Up to 5 minutes.
Okay, so make we round up now.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I will also re-echo my appeal for
okay, I
the
think
organization
before you go to the organization, let's just give this one way just on kind side quick. Welcome to the show. Your name and the call from, please. Hello, you did live? Okay, well, at the shutdown logo.
Yeah. So
okay,
yes.
Mr. Chernoh, excuse me, please. Before you go to the organization, I think Amina, system admin, he asked question, but waiting now the fate of ONS because they say for organize a protest. I will join a church down before we round up.
Well, of course, the IMC not get jurisdiction over the Africanist press. We don't see a correspondence from IMC to ONS in which IMC tell them, say there's nothing they can do. So, but I want to tell people and say, we don't become aware of other efforts of the government for stop we, some of which I cannot talk about here. And we have been on to take our own measures for prevent, and part of some of it include personal security. For the kind of work that we, before the government write that letter, they don't try other measures, other methods, and they're still trying other methods that we know of, and we actively take steps for protect we. We are not afraid of government coming to America, say they put in a court and things like that. They have no way. We not do anything we constitute a crime. You don't understand? We are basically doing everything that within the limits of the law and the profession. We not write against anybody. We will not get evidence of what we write about. We go any side, any court, any day, any time, where there's justice, we are able to justify every single word.
Because this is not the question of people. If actually what they do illegal, the government gets evidence for sure that they undermine and sabotage.
Therefore don't come, therefore get right for
court. Because that also on a day on a side where they deal with law a lot. Then for taking to court and then go able to get edge over on.
Yeah. So that's what they say. But apart from that, the only other thing we could think about now other illegal methods for stop somebody that can include any other thing. It can include hiring an assassin or things like that. So other government can do that one day. So we cannot put that past governments. We don't become so exposed. So that we would say. But I appreciate the concern, and I appreciate the fact that people are taking upon themselves the initiative or demonstrate in front of the embassy physically to express their dissatisfaction with the situation back home. We have to do that. And I will use the opportunity for also encourage any Sierra Leonean where they listen or we don't read that comment for support any mobilization in defense or against what is happening in Sierra Leone, for expose what is happening in Sierra Leone. So I will encourage people for join. We will appreciate information regarding that mobilization. And if we can contribute to also advertising it and drawing media attention for that kind of situation, we will do them. Because it is a democratic right of citizens for do. The diaspora must be engaged across the world. Wherever Sierra Leone has an embassy, they have to petition that embassy. They have to picket that embassy so that we will draw international opinion about what is happening in Sierra Leone, draw the attention of the world to what's happening in Sierra Leone. One way of doing that is by organizing what we call these peaceful demonstrations in front of the embassies, for express dissatisfaction with the governance arrangement of the country, the developments back home. You have the right to do that. And please send me that information. And whenever we think we are in danger, we will make the people of Sierra Leone know. But we are within a country that has law and order. And if we feel threatened, we also ask the US for provide protection for everybody where they are. There are law enforcement agencies here that we can look forward to for provide protection. But at the same time, again, we are also looking after ourselves, making sure that we are safe and protect ourselves in wherever we are. So not that. But nothing, I want people to say there's nothing that we have done that is unlawful. Anybody or anything we don't write about, we can justify them anytime. We don't write anything. where we're not sure of and certify. And we are a team of professionals. I want to know that. Within the Africanist press, you get people who are professors, you get people who are academics, you get people who are sociologists, people who are trained healthcare specialists, people who are economists, people who are lawyers. So we have a wide range of people with various expertise. Some, like me, had already announced, somebody asked me qualifications. We all know that people that we don't get the highest qualifications. Either we are people looking for their PhDs, or people who already have PhDs, or people who are already professors. So wherever we see something with a debate around particular issues before we get them out and say, how you see this? Change this word if you put are implicating, or make we not publish this because we not think say the evidence is complete. Before we publish an evidence with the triangulator, make sure say it is well vetted and tested and proved to be correct. So that's what make we know. We are a group of professionals made up of people with the highest qualifications you can think of. And we know what we do. And we make sure say we tread within the professional limits of we professional. I want to say that without necessarily, it's so difficult to talk about yourself and say, me not this, some of us are not trained that way. We not get that kind of discipline for advertise ourselves and propagate who we are and what we have, what kind of qualifications or discipline we have. But we can hold our own in any environment. I want to guarantee with supporters and readers that we also don't go through the kind of education, and we get people then within the ranks way much more advanced than some of us who make sure that we do work of the greatest quality. And we also understand, apart from Sierra Leone, we communicate to people and back outside of Sierra Leone who are policymakers internationally. So we got to make sure we work is impeccable, is of the highest standard. That's our credibility and now they put on the line when we do this kind of work. So we have to take it much more seriously than people imagine.
Wetin we expect from, or wetin we for the expect for see from the Africanist base?
Yeah, as we say, we don't commence the year of exposure. What you have seen in the last couple of weeks is the beginning of what is to come. But one thing what I want to tell people that in the next couple of weeks coming, expect an article that addresses the question of the marriage of the president. You know, but the president and the first lady do the marriage. Let me talk say then even what I said also. So we can prove that's a lie. That's a lie. That public money was not only spent, but huge amount of money was taken from the National Treasury in the name of funding the president's second wedding. We will provide the transaction details and the evidence supporting that. So look for that article. Is in the chain coming. Although we get a couple of other ones coming. Then the other thing we get for publish now evidence of dozens of civil servants from the Ministry of Finance and other places were suspend because they suspect them and say then people the way they leak information to we. We think so we need for know about the people that the story because it's a story of abuse. It's a story of human rights violation. Our responsibility as citizens for we support them people there. And if the need be for expose this to the world, make the IMF, World Bank, international organizations know say, government been try for suppress this transparency conversation. And in the process, they don't marginalize a lot of civil servants, innocent people. So we have we will publish these details, not just names, but document for sure now, say this Africanist press here, that we don't cause people and they don't lost job as alone, they don't have nothing but Africanist press. So we know about the Auditor General, we know about Deputy Auditor General, but there are scores of internal auditors within, so the government don't destroy the entire audit service. What the Auditor General no more want to know about? There are many internal auditors in government ministries, agencies, and departments who have been suspended, some sacked, because of the fact the Africanist press they publish these details of government transactions with the suspect and say that they no more good on. Just like how some of them been the suspects in Alara till appears. And the audit service been they give you information. Now they don't know say no to him, but they're already victimized. And so apart from Lara's case, there are cases of other junior ranking internal and senior auditors that we don't suffer the same fate that we don't know about. So we will bring them to light. So where the government they pretend say we to the right, is not important or not true, then don't let marginalize people and for the true they publish and they keep on now from una. So go show that that's coming in the next couple of days. Then moving forward now, when I expect this article of the money where we don't take for spend and the married, and the president is married. In fact, one of the reasons where they go lock married back. So we show now the evidence now. Say, look, that's why we've been saying they not even spend water. So they show now. Plus, a lot of other things in the thing. But I think say the most important thing now is not about just exposing the corruption. The question is, what do we expect people to do? We have to understand that the only solution is about protecting the vote. We got to make sure, say, we tell the international community for support the effort of ordinary Sierra Leoneans to get a government of their choice in the next election. Now, everybody responsible for getting a free and fair election. Everybody should be allowed to participate, and we got to make sure, say, that we prevent the current plan of Madabio for select which opposition leader you got to contest with, because that's what he wants to do. The government is trying to select, even they not only try for affect the democratic landscape in the country, but they even want to impose candidates of their own choice on opposition parties across the country. We have to stop that. Every individual that wants to participate in the election must have an opportunity to contest freely and compete freely. It's our responsibility as citizens to have multiple choices that we can choose from. So people who believe SLPP, then will vote SLPP. People who believe, say, that APC, may them vote APC. If they believe in NGC, may them vote NGC or any other party that's there. But the president therefore decides, say, this particular candidate, I don't afraid that I go lie pan and say corrupt, so I go eliminate her and allow other person. You know, if you believe you are competent, you don't work fine, why are you afraid of competition? So that the responsibility of citizens, not just for talk about registration, but for impress upon the donor partners, development partners, the need for make the president hands off the muzzling of people in the opposition that he's afraid to compete with. That is where the work is. We already know there's nothing we can produce here that will just add to the fact that the government is corrupt. That is already a given. Everybody knows this Salon government corrupt, now Madabio na corrupt leader who takes money from the central bank, puts it on a plane and fly with the country money. They don't even the money in the bank, now they don't go print money, then they drive, they don't get headache, when for circulator, when for circulator. That is no longer a problem for people of Sierra Leone. The people of Sierra Leone want to make sure the ballot box speaks for them. So now we responsibility that those of us who are concerned about democracy, good governance, transparency, accountability, for no say, it is time to begin to put pressure on friends of Sierra Leone for help for get a clean election, one. For also help for make sure that the government not try for impose candidates of their own choice on opposition parties. And for also tell opposition party leaders that they have a responsibility for represent the interest of the people, not their own selfish interest in their pursuit for personal power. Okay. So that I think say that I would like for end with.
You know,
since we don't talk a lot.
That's why they do it. I see na style of posting don't change. They post every Sunday, but now it don't change. Why?
Oh yeah, because as we get closer to election, in fact, we don't develop what we call a chronometric approach to reporting now, which means it's getting to a time where we will do chrono, like a clockwise reporting, where as the clock they go step hand by hand, so they pull out information. Because as I tell people, we are still below 25% of the evidence in our possession, and it's our intention to get it out, all of it before the election done. So which means the week by week is not going to help us. So we are now working towards doing a chronometric reporting that by the second, as how the clock they tick, and so we pump out information. So expect different kinds of information formats, from cliff notes to highlights to essays, long reporting, feature stories, opinion articles and analysis. Get for continue, including videos. So which is why we get for deepen this collaboration with YAD, so that will assist we also with video capacity. So now we launch that appeal there online now and see many people that give me for
By the way, what you say? Sister, me too not say. The team need for
but yeah. So we need for impress upon we had so that then nobody just donate small time. Nobody should do that as a collaborative responsibility now, because otherwise we're not going to do nothing with the information we get now. We have to amplify the release. So people would expect more and more.
In fact, as you talk about the one very important article, we already they try to think of how we go do the video for that particular article there. We hope we'll get a lot of time for able for catch up with Andy, so we'll get all the video we go to the article there.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
We want for the banger.
No problem.
Thank you very, very much. You want to talk about the DOFA, the old people?
Oh, yes, just one for continuously join make people support. We need for identify many of these kind of social intervention organizations and for help. And I really want for salute for identifying DOFA. And I will call on people for please donate and assist Doreen Barry and the organization. They are doing tremendously well. Check their work online as well. I see they post a lot of work on Facebook. It's a selfless kind of work. We're not ingrained into society the need for take care of old people, because we always think, people get old in their families, but make we do whatever we can to support that kind of effort. It's a good initiative. And thank you for identifying that and try to raise money for that.
Thank you very,
we said we do we own on the sideline.
Eh?
I said we said commit for do we own on the sideline.
Dande, with the empire like in Jalo.
Not only for empire, a commitment. It's a what it calls to support.
No, because, well, you get for hotel, we say, to mad at you.
Yeah, we're not mad at you. No, we are not mad at you that promise Lunge Bridge, announce I launch all the bridge all left in my hand. And they will go to
you're not going to talk about it again.
Yeah.
All right,
that's so change, and they say no, you're not being the part of the manifesto again. I mean, let me just want give bonus.
Okay, I think in a long marathon we don't do so. People they don't get a lot of information, and I don't know if we do justice to the whole discussion. But if we do, we want to take a leave now, because we say we don't get long day. We don't get one protest. We can't get immediate after that do another program. As election they can also get for the overload. So then they will not ready for that day. We didn't say we don't tower carefully lie.
Ramatulai.
Yes, tower carefully lie. We don't ready for that day. Anyway, thank you very much, Chernoh, for your time, the information them. I think say this now we need for the do now for let people break down, because una the right to una don't do very well, but people need for the, because sometimes people in the year they're not able for read. But that is why we take up the venture. Say we need for the go into our archive now, into things that we do for make sure say we attempt, because I know we talk say we go do with the attempt for broken down for let people able for understand Wetin they go about and Wetin they write, because we feel say if some people like read, some people not able for read. So with the bottom all side for let the information we go, and we go try with the small video there as well. To by way in technicality. So I want to tell you thank you for joining inside the program. I want to tell thank you. Even now that we end the program, so we the graph the countdown in terms of the viewer, we still get 566 on YouTube, and we get let me see on Facebook how much we get. In Facebook though reduce, we get 251. So we appreciate everything. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't know except if you get any other thing. If not, one for thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Sebisa go take me leave now.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye bye.
Thank you, my brother. God bless you.
So by the way, now they wrap up and end up.
Well, we don't sit down for long. We don't get much time again. We just want for continue for tell we family members and plenty thank you. As we all don't come and learn some things them from we brother Chernoh, because in the house now everyday process, but Chernoh we can just get once a while. So plenty thank you to you. We come and like the program, share, comments, do whatever you able to do for make the program reach another person. Well, not forget see tomorrow. Of course, now you program, now you time for talk. And I always tell you, say, me brother can just in at the studio when it comes to Sunday program and Wednesday program, when I blue mind for just control the system for una. So don't forget for join me tomorrow Sunday, 3 p.m. saloon time. Maybe you go can talk more of the things that we want for talk this night. We not get chance for talk, but tomorrow when I blue mind, now you program they come and talk about them. Until we meet again tomorrow. Inside the same family house, now we blow, we mind.
Yeah.
The truth you get for saying.
Oh, yeah.
And it no matter what, the truth you get for saying. Try save the future. The truth you get for saying. And it no matter what, the truth you get for saying. Come blow your mind. Of course, tomorrow, na blow mind. Me na break up live from the north. Until we meet again tomorrow. I love you all. Stay blessed.
If you join me for the very first time and you not subscribe it, please hit for the subscribe button on YouTube and turn on the notification bell with the word all. So anytime we come online, you will get the opportunity for to get the notification on YouTube. And on Facebook, please don't forget to follow the page and like them. The same thing with the notification. So anytime when we come online, you will be able to forget them. We love you also so much. Thank you very, 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 very much. Well, until we meet again, Chernoh bargain for the camera. So now it don't tell you the election time don't they come fast approach. Well, until we meet again, say blow mind tomorrow 3 p.m. salon time. My name is Sembepe, the freedom fighter. On behalf of the team, Sister me we don't control the moderation. Now YouTube, thank you very much, everybody. We don't like, comment, and share. We want to say God bless we all, yeah. But now don't forget to Doffer, where they can play and back loan and see why so they take we leave. Until we meet again, we want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi abarakatuh.
Today, Doffer, we come na grafting camp. This now one of the places them where most of the old people where we can see they bigger on the street, especially along Kisi Road. Most of them are this particular place who are they so today now here they reside. But most of them, the places them who side they when are they shelter, a very day in a bad condition. See this are some of the places look, you know, like a kitchen, where it rain can, we go wash everything away. Look at the block. Where they touch ourselves, you see, it's something I can. So you see this is another place. When are we old people, this the person even able to come inside because everything don't be disjointed. See the place? So this old person are in there without a house because he not able to get side for stay. Because look at how the place stay. When we been come the last time, wash everything away, all the place don't full with dirty and everything.
You couldn't make me now say for I got that very good. Look at the foot there. You see, man, please swear. And look no more the thing of Pulian, another can't choke now, Papa, and I can't say not to think for shame. When I see I know the other room all will be no way didn't do and box and go and pack bag now, and how they choke them, and picking them, picking the old mama, they really suffer. But when you can't meet me as you don't know, not all myself at the brinker, and no get a like and say for Cassido. Leader like me, people like the kind is shameless now, now you want to kill me. I tell Miss K, I say Miss K, I know the guy chance, I go begin like saying that this the money, I say, but if you don't help me, Miss K, I say me, I don't disgrace. When I say let them go to chief fair, that tell God to take me to my, then come meet me this hour, they live like so, you know, go fight for me, Mama, do you help me? For God, I never do ya.
So this is not the room. Up aside, no form safe. Form not there fall down. Please, when I see, aside do not even get a form fall down. Aside do the lay down a matter. At the age, now matter they lay down for sleep. They just make the cement and look at the floor, nothing. This now outside aside in picking and they sleep. Aside do not get form, so the picking and self is the same thing. Then just lay down and just they don't even get matter and just like bags them. Now they picking and they lay down.
Me have been driver 20 years and I don't drive now, so I sit down. I have to go kill I go make a big out for it.
Okay, this is the
veranda. Yes, I cover this toilet because the toilet and the two window the veranda. This is the thing. This change in the morning. Yes, yeah.
grass mattress.
I left in that pool. The three about them don't die. They left two people. The one not rich or woman business. The water about the second one, you're picking the 2 months. The other one 2 months. This even the grip in Papa die. And the rapper in Papa die. Now suffer no more. They buy even for feed them, but think of the chance no day. At times I go for small picking there, they give you something for me they can eat to me. God what they serve. Where is that they tell you so it's not easy for me.
This again another place where it really in a bad condition when our aged also stay inside this particular place. So we kindly calling on every Sierra Leoneans. You were there into construction. You were you get shop where they sell building materials. We they appeal to everybody for come on board. Let we do something for them. We all people here. So because at this stage now we don't need. So please, nothing is small. You get cement, you get zinc, you get whatever people do towards this them building there. So logo make them good. We even need mattresses then because you see some of them they outside and they sleep. So one of them they don't matter at that age. Old person at that age. You know, get a phone for Lidom. They don't have the matter for Lidom, even a picking them all where they look up to them because as an elderly person, and they will go again go fair them unless they go on the streets or go bigger. But with all the bigger, then they go bigger. Then they will make them place decent. So they kindly ask on people. I know we have Soyat people, then we they call on the churches them, we they call on the mosques, we they call on institutions them, we they call on individuals them in and out of salon. Let we do something for them. People there, so we hold people them. Remember, say we serve them for reach their age, and old age now something we can always say old is age, but this kind of old age is very sad for them. When they never forget better side for them with all the contribution they don't make in society. At this age now they need to support them because the rains not the fight again. Very soon rains will come. We see few days ago we see every winds they blow. You know where the show say this year we likely forget more rains than previous years. So please let all people them not go there. We wake one morning we read and say thousands of them we don't lost them because of every downpour. So please come on board and support we. Let before give back to the old people there. So.
You know say plenty people no get for votes the time for election. Not because they no want for vote, but now because of this simple mistake where I can't tell you what so now go make plenty people no vote. Right now, as the Electoral Commission Salon don't pull the date for vote and for register, plenty people just the yagba and they rush go do things them as then they tell them for do. But hey, members say registration, the voter registration, they begin from the 3rd of September to the 4th of October 2022. Then number 1 step where go give you guarantee say you go vote. But if you make mistake during this time, you no go for vote. And I think this way person not go able for help people. Wetin this mean? It means say no ever register na the area where you dey work, do business, or where you dey go school. You know what it make? You don't know. Sometimes the time for the election, then go say public transport not for run. This na big challenge for you. Remember, if you tap na Kalbaton and then you dey walk na Lomley, how you go able for go and vote na that side? You go able for waka? The answer na no. So, no make that mistake dey. As them blow the whistle when they say, hey, today na the 3rd of September for begin the voter registration. Do ya try by all possible means for register na the center where they near you house. So the day when they go say for voting, whether Mutuka deal, Mutuka not deal, not to you business. You dey go surful na morning, vote, return back na you house. So you see, if you make this mistake, the possibility go they say you no go vote 2023. So wetin na this yagba now? For say me party go continue for then na power, or me party go return na power if I not able for vote. You want vote, they change the whole situation.